Chapter 199. I'm just a useless person. Shin Jianchuan could now speak a sentence more fluently. In that case, you still want to make life difficult for us. Rong Junhan said agitatedly. I've taken care of you for more than 10 years. Can't you spare our lives? Who did I become like this? Shin Jianchuan asked Rong Junhan. I didn't do it on purpose. You did. Shin Jianchuan said confidently. If you want me to spare your life, it depends on your attitude. Are you going to cling on to something that doesn't exist, or are you willing to disappear from Jianchuan? Rong Junhan understood what Shin Jianchuan meant. Shin Jianchuan wanted her to give up everything and leave Jianchuan with Yu Jing. Moreover, she was not allowed to step into this city ever again. Will you let us go if we do that? At least, I won't bother to help you if you're somewhere else. Shin Jianchuan replied. He was a man with a daughter now. What awaited him next was rehabilitation training. He did not want to waste any more time on this family of scum. However, he could not watch this family of 3 walk around in front of him so shamelessly. I understand. Rong Junhan nodded. She looked hopeless. If you want to disappear, you must disappear completely. Rong Junhan looked at her leg that was in a cast. She thought of her brother who was going to be imprisoned. She could not help but cry. She had been scheming for so many years. She had been hiding in the Shin family for so many years. But in the end, she could not even go home. Shin Jianchuan did not pity her at all. After all, this woman had done all kinds of bad things. Rong Junhan knew that there was nothing she could do in front of Shin Jianchuan. She could only hide her embarrassment. She called Yu Jing into the ward and pushed her away from Shin Jianchuan's territory. Mom, what should we do next? Go home and pack your things. We are moving out of Jianchuan. What? Yu Jing exclaimed. If you don't want to be the one with a broken leg, then don't ask. Yu Jing kept quiet when she thought of her parents lying in the hospital. She could not imagine how scary Shin Jianchuan was. He would kill them all. But her mother had been scheming for her whole life. But she ended up like this. Yu Jing felt that her world was collapsing. Saturday came quickly. Before she went to the Shin family, Mu Chichi brought chicken soup to the hospital to visit Shin Jianchuan. Dad, drink it while it's hot. Shin Jianchuan looked at his daughter and knew that she was going to attend the birthday banquet today. He smiled and said, Are you here to learn from me? What are you thinking? I just want to see you. Mu Chichi answered him. I'm here to see how Rong Junhan is doing. Didn't Grandpa say that she is also in this hospital? When Rong Junhan was mentioned, Shin Jianchuan was silent for a moment. Then he replied, You won't be able to see this family in Jianchuan anymore. Mu Chichi didn't quite understand. The whole family left. Shin Jianchuan replied. Maybe I'm old and don't want to kill them all. As long as she disappears from my sight, I can let her live. The Rong clan only has herself to blame for this outcome. Mu Chichi nodded. Then she smiled at Shin Jianchuan. Then we'll have to look forward to the future. You must get well soon or I'll be bullied in the Shin family. Who dares to bully you? You don't know. Mu Chichi pouted. I heard from your grandfather that Shin Rui likes you a lot, doesn't she? Shin Jianchuan reminded her not to throw a tantrum. But if someone comes to trouble you, I will be your strongest support. You don't have to be afraid of anything. I know. She had a great boyfriend and a great father. What was there for her to be afraid of now? After visiting Shin Jianchuan in the hospital, Mu Chichi went back to her new home. She changed into a black A-line dress. There was a layer of black muslin on top of the dress. She looked elegant and her skin was fair. At her age, she was in her prime. As long as there was a confident smile on her face, she would attract attention no matter where she went. Mu Chichi did not know that Xing Xiao was going to the birthday banquet. She asked Uncle Lin to send her to the Shin family at 5 o'clock. She had to meet Grandpa Shin and go to the birthday banquet with Shin Rui. Shin Rui was wearing a blue dress and her hair was braided. She looked very special. It seemed that she knew her shortcomings. So, she always wanted to find something special to make herself look more attractive. Chichi, you are so beautiful. Shin Rui was surprised when she saw Mu Chichi. I think your hair is very beautiful today. Shin Rui smiled when she heard the compliment. I learned it overseas. I will teach you how to braid it someday. Third aunt stood aside and pulled her cloak. She rolled her eyes at them and muttered, What do you mean by beautiful? You are just an illegitimate child. What is there to praise? We can leave after Grandpa has changed. Shin Rui was not affected by her mother at all. She was very friendly to Mu Chichi. Mu Chichi put on a fake smile. She knew that third aunt, who was not far from her, had a resentful look on her face. Soon Grandpa Shin walked out of the room. He was wearing a blue striped suit. He looked very energetic. Since you are ready, let's go. Mu Chichi went forward and held Grandpa Shin's arm. Shinrui was pulled aside by third aunt. She secretly gave Shinrui a bag and put it in her silver handbag. If you want to embarrass the girl tonight, you can apply this on her body. It will cause an allergic reaction. Be careful. Mom? Shinrui was shocked. Don't be stubborn. You have to fight for your future. Aren't you afraid now that your grandfather likes this illegitimate child so much? Shinrui was helpless. But she did not get angry at her mother. She would never use the thing her mother prepared. But she did not have time to take it out. So she could only put it in her handbag. The three of them got into the car. But Grandpa Shin looked at Shinrui. Rui, you are the eldest sister of the Shin family. Don't be bewitched by some evil tricks. Grandpa, don't worry. I will take good care of Chichi. Shinrui smiled and held Mu Chichi's hand. If it was someone else, they would have long fallen in love with this elder sister, right? Chapter 200. Especially when Shinrui was so friendly to her. Even Grandpa Shin would be suspicious. Chichi, don't be nervous at the banquet tonight. They are my old comrades. They won't make things difficult for you. I know, Grandpa. Anyway, she was used to gossip. She would easily become the topic of gossip when she was in such a situation. She was a twin. How could she have two fathers? It was normal for others to be curious. She could pretend that she did not hear anything as long as it was not too much. I will keep a close eye on Chichi's location, Shinrui said to the two of them. Grandpa Shin was very satisfied with his two granddaughters. One was talented in literature and the other was logical. They were both good descendants of the Shin family. They had brought glory to the Shin family. Soon, the car of the Shin family arrived at the entrance of the hotel where the banquet was held. The hotel staff helped Mu Chichi get off the car. Grandpa Lin, the protagonist of the birthday banquet, was standing at the entrance. He was wearing a white suit and looked quite handsome. When he saw his old comrade, he quickly came to welcome him. Just call him Grandpa Lin later. I will bring you along. Shinrui reminded Mu Chichi. Mu Chichi nodded and followed Grandpa Shin with Shinrui. Roy has become prettier. Grandpa Lin looked at Shinrui and smiled warmly. Then he looked at Mu Chichi. He seemed to understand what was going on. He said to Grandpa Shin, you are indeed Jianchuan's daughter. You are so handsome. Don't say that. She is still a little girl. She will have to rely on the elders to take care of her in the future. Please come in. After some polite greetings, the three of them entered the banquet hall. Looking at the colorful decorations of the banquet hall, and seeing that most of the guests were dressed in military uniforms, Mu Chichi knew very well that it was no wonder that her third aunt was trying so hard not to let her take the limelight for herself on such an occasion. Mu Chichi tilted her head and looked at Shinrui. She knew most of the guests because they often walked around. So, she was not so nervous when she greeted someone she was familiar with. Hey Roy, is this your younger sister? A woman in a red dress stopped and looked at Mu Chichi. She asked Shinrui. Yes, Aunt Yao. Shinrui greeted her politely. Then she said to Mu Chichi, this is Aunt Yao. Hello Aunt Yao. She looked at Mu Chichi and pursed her lips into a smile. She nodded in acknowledgement, but her gaze was so meaningful that it made people choke on their throats and mind it very much. Then the woman left. Shinrui turned around and said to Mu Chichi, stay away from her. She's quite a gossip. Wasn't this gossip? Now he was chatting with someone else and he kept glancing at Mu Chichi. Grandpa Shin was greeting everyone along the way. So Mu Chichi was led by Shinrui. So Shinrui brought Mu Chichi to the place where the young men and ladies gathered together. Roy, is this your sister? There were 5 or 6 people standing in front of him. They were both men and women and they were all about 18 or 19 years old. However, each of them had a confident attitude on their faces. One look and you could tell that they had extraordinary backgrounds. Shinrui looked at Mu Chichi and nodded. Yes, my sister. The man didn't ask any more questions. Instead, he turned around and said to his friends, have you heard about this girl's background? It's interesting. Shinrui's expression changed when she heard that. She looked at Mu Chichi. But Mu Chichi didn't have much reaction. It was because she was already mentally prepared for it. I heard that her mother and 2 men. That's why they gave birth to a pair of twins. I heard from my mother that the young master of the Shin family was a man with a heavy taste when he was young. I didn't expect him to have such a taste. Knowing that they were up to no good, Shinrui turned around with Mu Chichi. Don't listen to them. The kids who grew up in the military are all lawless and spoiled. They don't care about other people's feelings. They only think that it's fun. Then I'll go and humiliate them. Mu Chichi got rid of Shinruoi's hand and went back to the 5 men. Chichi. Shinruoi was anxious. She was afraid that Mu Chichi would make a fool of herself. But Mu Chichi wouldn't accept it. She asked them directly, "Do you think that my family background is cool?" None of them expected Mu Chichi to provoke them so bluntly, and all 5 of them looked at her with interest. "We are wondering why you still have the cheek to appear here. Don't you think that your family background is embarrassing?" "I don't think so," Mu Chichi answered calmly. She didn't look down on herself at all. "That's interesting. Don't you know that half of the people in this banquet are talking about you behind your back?" One of the boys who was wearing a white suit said, "If I were you, I would have crawled into a hole in the ground." How shameless. "So, what's the role of your parents in this banquet?" "A major general in the army." "He has great achievements," the boy said proudly. "Even a major general can only cultivate a person who talks behind people's back. He's a sneaky person who bullies the weak and fears the strong." Mu Chichi retorted calmly. "What's wrong with my family background? Does it bother you? A major general's upbringing is just SOSO. Let me ask you again. What are your achievements? You're already 18 or 19 years old. Don't tell me that you only know how to eat, drink, and have fun?" The boy stuttered when he was asked about his shortcomings. I know that you will talk behind people's backs. You guys look like good friends. So, I have reason to believe that you will be marked by the company you keep. Do you think that I want to be respected by you? You think too highly of yourself." They were so angry that their faces turned red. But they didn't dare to be presumptuous because their parents were there. But Mu Chichi was different. It was her first time here. Even if she did something wrong, she would be forgiven first. Shinruoi witnessed the whole process of Mu Chichi's retaliation. She was worried that Mu Chichi would say something vulgar and bring shame to the Shin family. "Chichi, don't bother with these people. Just stay away from them. They're just a bunch of rich men. They might come to find trouble with you." "Sure." Mu Chichi was not afraid. She was being bullied now. How was she different from before? Chapter 201. I'm fine, Grandpa. I was humiliated by a few kids just now. But it's fine now, Grandpa. Shinruoi's answer was on the top. Mu Chichi's answer was on the bottom. Grandpa Shin glanced at Mu Chichi and asked her, "How did they humiliate you?" Mu Chichi told Grandpa Mu everything from the beginning. She did not hide anything. But in Shinruoi's eyes, Mu Chichi was just looking for trouble. Because she was not the one who was bullied. She just wanted to maintain her image as a well-mannered person. She did not want to have any conflict with anyone at the scene. But Mu Chichi was not afraid of fighting. Grandpa Shin's eyes darkened when he heard that. He asked Mu Chichi, "Tell me, which kids did you bully?" Mu Chichi pointed at the few people beside her. Grandpa Shin immediately recognized those children. They were the devil's incarnations. It was his granddaughter's first time attending such a banquet. She was humiliated in front of everyone. No one would be able to accept it. "Grandpa, it's just a quarrel between kids. It's not as serious as you think." Shinruoi tried to calm Grandpa Shin down immediately. "If you go and find trouble with those kids, I won't be able to get along with them anymore." Grandpa Shin did not say anything. He just looked at Shinruoi with a meaningful gaze. "I don't want to spend too much time with them." Mu Chichi told Shinruoi frankly. "Sister Rui, you can stay away from me if you don't want to get involved. Little girl, follow me." Grandpa Shin protected Mu Chichi by his side. Then he brought her back to his comrades. But Mu Chichi's action had alerted the parents of the kids. They were not from ordinary families. So, it was inevitable that they would feel embarrassed. "Old General Shin, your granddaughter is really eloquent. It's the first time that she made the devil of the family so angry with just a few words. But it's just a quarrel between kids. I hope you won't mind it." The Major General's father walked up to the old man and spoke in a strange tone. Grandpa Shin smiled and patted Mu Chichi's shoulder. He replied, "It's important to know one's place. You should know what you should say and what you shouldn't. I'm afraid you should go back and teach your son a lesson. Otherwise, even if my granddaughter doesn't teach him a lesson today, he will be taught a lesson by someone else. Of course, I won't take such a small matter to heart. However, if my granddaughter is unhappy, I won't be happy either. Today is Elder Lin's birthday, so it's not appropriate for me to lose my temper here. But, even though I'm retired, I still believe that my words carry some weight. Major General Zhong, you should behave yourself." "You don't have to worry about that. I'm more worried about you, old Shin. After all, this is the world of the young. Aren't you afraid that your granddaughter will cause a disaster one day? Of course, the other party wouldn't be afraid of a retired old chief. Grandpa Shin smiled calmly, but he was not afraid at all. Just then, the Lin family knew that Grandpa Shin had a conflict with someone, so they quickly came to mediate. Oh, is everyone laughing at the Lin family for not taking good care of them? Both of you are people of high status. I hope that old Shin and Major General Zhong can be kind to each other for my father's sake. You're humiliating someone else's family matter in public. Are you saying that the Shin family is in the wrong? Grandpa Shin's voice became a little sharper. You have to be taught a lesson if you're not taught well. Old Shin, don't cross the line. The Major General couldn't let go of his pride. If I'm crossing the line, why would I let my granddaughter be bullied by your son? You don't have the right to argue with me yet. Everyone was protective of their children, but old Master Sheng had to tell the other party that Mu Chichi was not someone who could be bullied by anyone. His son was not someone who could be insulted and slandered by anyone. If he was bullied the first time, how was Xiao Qi going to attend such occasions in the future? Of course, both of them were embarrassed. But Mu Chichi and her granddaughter did not suffer any loss. Shin Ruoi took a deep breath. She always wanted to be peaceful. She thought that she would not be liked by others if she competed with them. So, she thought that Mu Chichi should not make a big deal out of it. Her mother said that Mu Chichi had a low EQ, but she did not agree with it. But how could Mu Chichi not know about it? But she had already said that she would not give in on this kind of thing. It was not because she had a high EQ. If she still smiled when others were stepping on her head, that would be called stupid. She would not accept this kind of thing even if it was 100 years later. More and more people were talking about Mu Chichi in the banquet hall. Of course, there were different opinions about her. But she did not care about other people's opinions. It was more important for her to live comfortably. At that moment, there was a commotion in the crowd. Mu Chichi looked towards the entrance of the hotel. She saw a man in a black suit entering the banquet hall with Jing Yun. You must be Xing Xiao. Didn't you say that sixth brother is coming? The guests were paying close attention to the crown prince of Huang Yao. It could not be helped. He was the center of attention no matter where he went. Mu Chichi looked at Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao looked at Mu Chichi too. How many people in the banquet hall greeted Xing Xiao? But he did not respond to them. He would respond to the elders. But he would not even look at those who were not important to him. Mu Chichi was afraid that her relationship with Xing Xiao would be exposed. So she turned around and looked at Shin Ruoi. But in a blink of an eye she saw Shin Ruoi looking at Xing Xiao. She could not fake the admiration and surprise in her eyes. Suddenly she understood why Shin Ruoi wanted to get close to her. No wonder Shin Ruoi noticed Xing Xiao's English name. But Mu Chichi looked away quietly. Then she saw Xing Xiao walking to her and Grandpa Shin. Uncle Shen. You are here too. Grandpa Shin smiled at him. Xing Xiao was an important person. He knew what was going on when he saw the situation in front of him. He patted Mu Chichi's head and protected her. Did the little girl get into trouble? She did not get into trouble. But she was bullied. Grandpa Shin looked at Major General Zhong. Xing Xiao knew what he meant. He smiled and said, I will take care of her. You can relax now. Then take good care of Xiao Qi for me. The old man ordered. If she gets talked about again, I'll make trouble for you. Chapter 202. People were afraid of Xing Xiao because Xing Xiao was not someone who could be persuaded by force or persuasion. Moreover, he did things according to his mood. He had many ways to take revenge. Most importantly, he would always remember that grudge in his heart. Major General Zhong restrained himself when he saw Xing Xiao supporting Mu Chichi. He did not think for himself. He had to think for his son. Offending Xing Xiao might not end well. He did not want his son to wake up on a mountain 4,000 meters above sea level. He did not want his son to wake up one day. Xing Xiao often did that to others. Major General Zhong wanted to turn and leave without drawing attention, but Xing Xiao saw him turn and quickly called out, Major General Zhong, if I hear your son speaking rudely to Mu Chichi in public like this again, he's going to suffer. There are 5 of them. Are you going to teach each of them a lesson? There are 5 of them. I will spend more money. I have money. Major General Zhong did not look happy. But he could not do anything to Xing Xiao. So he could only swallow his anger and leave. Humph, these people are really afraid of the strong and bully the weak. Grandpa Shin snorted when he saw that. I'm getting old. I'm not as strong as I used to be. That's because they underestimate your power. Grandpa Shin did not make any guesses about their relationship, because they were each other's benefactors. So, he understood that Xing Xiao would want to protect Mu Chichi in such a situation. Then I will leave it to you. Grandpa Shin smiled and pushed Muchichi closer to Xing Xiao. Don't cause trouble for your uncle Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao raised his eyebrows at Muchichi. He had something to tell her. But Shinroi came up to him and greeted him. Uncle Xiao, do you remember me? Xing Xiao glanced at Shinroi. Then he asked casually, Who are you? I am, forget it. I don't need to know who you are. It's a waste of time to remember your name. Come with me. Xing Xiao did not allow Shinroi to finish her sentence. He dragged Muchichi away immediately. Now that Xing Xiao was by Muchichi's side, everyone was looking at them again. The crown prince of the Sheng family seems to have something to do with that girl from the Shin family. No wonder he's so arrogant. It turns out that he has the crown prince behind him. Why would the scions of the aristocratic families fear him? That was because Xing Xiao was a ruthless character who showed no mercy to outsiders. He did not even care about his own family and friends. If he provoked someone, he would immediately tease them to death. He would use any kind of torture to show off. That was why he was such a famous demon in the outside world. Xing Xiao brought Muchichi to the buffet counter and asked her to get some snacks. On the way here, she had texted Xing Xiao that she had not eaten anything, and Xing Xiao remembered that the little one had not filled her stomach, so he asked her to fill the bottom first. Xiao, I think Shinroi approached me because of you. She likes you. Muchichi held the plate and stared at the man beside her. Xing Xiao looked at Muchichi abruptly. Was the little one getting jealous? I'll say it again. I don't have any impression of her. Xing Xiao answered Muchichi directly. She's just an insignificant person. But she approached me because she wants to get close to you. But I know my Xiaoqier will not let her get close to me. Xing Xiao smiled confidently. He sounded like he was asking for a beating. Muchichi glared at him. This man was really annoying. Don't worry. No one in this world is your match, okay? After teasing Muchichi, he smiled and added. Muchichi smiled as well. She took some snacks and sat at the banquet table. Xing Xiao sat next to her and put his right hand on the back of Muchichi's chair. He looked as if he was protecting her. No one would dare to be presumptuous towards Muchichi anymore. Muchichi smiled. She took a seat next to Muchichi. Not far away, Shinroi was envious of Muchichi. She was so envious that her eyes turned red. For so many years she could only look at Xing Xiao from afar. She never had the chance to be so close to Xing Xiao like Muchichi did. She wanted to be close to Xing Xiao too. But Xing Xiao did not remember her at all. He did not remember her. So, being nice to Muchichi was the only way for her to get close to Xing Xiao. But when she lowered her head, she suddenly thought of the things in her handbag. She was very nervous because she had never done such a bad thing before. But she did not want to miss such an opportunity. Shinroi was struggling in her heart. Muchichi ate the pastries with satisfaction. She felt more full now. But Grandpa Xing suddenly walked toward them. He said to Muchichi, Chichi, come with me. I'll bring you to meet Grandpa Lin's grandson. Muchichi was stunned. She turned and looked at Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao was expressionless. But Muchichi could feel that he was trying his best to control himself. So Muchichi smiled and said to Grandpa Xing, Grandpa, I'm still hungry. It's not good for my image now. They won't mind. Get up. Grandpa, I really don't want to get to know the young master of the Lin family. Can you let me be more comfortable? Muchichi felt helpless. So, she told Grandpa Xing directly, I have a boyfriend outside. Are you lying to me? Grandpa Xing stared at her. Even if it's true, it's just a boyfriend. You're not married. I'm just asking you to get to know him. What are you afraid of? I'm afraid. She was afraid that the man beside her would eat her up. Shinroi walked toward them. She helped Grandpa Sheng to persuade Muchichi. The young master of the Lin family is really handsome. You'll like him, Chichi. I think my sister is more suitable. Grandpa, please don't force me. Can you? Grandpa Shin took a deep breath helplessly. He pointed at her and looked disappointed. You're such a stupid girl. It's good to be stupid, Muchichi said. Bring your boyfriend home and let me have a look at him. Then Grandpa Shing left. She could tell that he was very disappointed. Muchichi looked at the so-called young master of the Lin family through the crowd. She was not interested at all. But Shinroi still felt that the matter was not serious enough. She continued to persuade her. Chichi Muan is really a good girl. You'll like him. You shouldn't reject my kindness. Sister Rui, I said I have a boyfriend. Muchichi explained patiently. Shinroi did not give up. She added, you'll know my kindness in the future. Chapter 203. Lin Mu, and was handsome, especially his long and narrow eyes. He was really attractive. Such a man seemed to be full of emotions. Just look at what he said. It was really attractive. Mu, and you and Mu Chichi seem to be a good match. Shin Rui smiled. Really? Thank you, Sister Rui. But Lin Mu, and glanced at Xing Xiao who was standing beside Mu Chichi. He greeted him politely. Nice to meet you, Crown Prince. Xing Xiao looked up at Lin Muan, but that glance was all it took for Lin Muan to understand, and he quickly added, but I think that Miss Chichi doesn't like to be interfered with by elders, and I happen to be the same. Xing Xiao looked at Lin Mu and with his chin and gave him a satisfied look. You are sensible. Lin Mu, and laughed in his mind. He was worried for himself. Was Grandpa Shen setting him up? How could he get to know the person whom the Crown Prince was protecting? Others might not be able to see it. But he was an experienced man in love. He could see the murderous look in his eyes. Feelings can be cultivated. Sister Rui, there are still many guests tonight. I'm sorry that I can't serve you well. I'll go now. Miss Mu Chichi, nice to meet you. Lin Mu, and was sensible. He did not dare to offend her. Mu Chichi had a good impression of Lin Mu Han. At least he was more sensible than Shin Rui. She knew why Shin Rui helped her. Firstly, she wanted Mu Chichi to owe her a favor. Secondly, she wanted to get close to Xing Xiao. But she certainly didn't know that her action made Xing Xiao want to strangle her. Soon, everyone had a new direction for gossip. Even the young master of the Lin family took the initiative to get to know her, but she ignored him. What was so charming about Mu Chichi? The others really wanted to know why, especially since Xing Xiao was so protective of the little one. Shin Rui was so jealous. She did not realize how jealous she was. Uncle Xiao, you really love Mu Chichi. Don't eat too much. You'll have a stomachache later. Xing Xiao ignored Shin Rui and reminded Mu Chichi. Shin Rui felt awkward. She turned around and left. On the other hand, the children who argued with Mu Chichi just now laughed at Shin Rui. You treat her as your younger sister, but she doesn't treat you as her elder sister. Look at her. You don't even exist in her eyes. Shin Rui looked at them. Although what they said was unpleasant, it was the truth. She was so nice to Mu Chichi, but Mu Chichi did not care about her at all. Shin Rui's grip on her purse tightened when she thought about it. It was not a big deal that Mu Chichi was in the limelight at the banquet. After all, she did not care about that. But Mu Chichi had stolen Xing Xiao's attention, and that was something she could not tolerate. So, she felt that she did not need to worry too much. So, when everyone was gathered in the banquet hall, Shin Rui went to the washroom with her handbag. Then she looked for the hotel service staff and told them something. Meanwhile, Mu Chichi noticed that there were too many eyes on them. She quickly said to Xing Xiao, you should go and walk around too. Otherwise, I'll become public enemy number 1. What are you afraid of? Xing Xiao asked. But he still got up from his seat and walked to the elders. Then he talked to the guests. Of course, the guests also wanted to know why he was so protective of this little one. The Crown Prince seems to like this girl from the Shin family. Is there any special reason? The guests obviously wanted to know the gossip. This little one saved my life. She is my benefactor. Xing Xiao held his wine glass and smiled. So, I can't bear to see others bully her. The other party suddenly realized that the two of them had such a relationship. No wonder Xing Xiao was being so considerate. Then you should repay her well? Xing Xiao purposely revealed the fact that Mu Chichi was his benefactor. He wanted to prevent others from guessing. Besides, he wanted to let everyone know that Mu Chichi was the person Xing Xiao wanted to repay. No one could touch her. To have you protecting this little girl, it's really a blessing from 3 lifetimes. Lin Mu In, who was standing aside, rolled his eyes elegantly. Xing Xiao's words were only meant to brush off the older generation. He was a sharp-eyed man, and he could tell that the relationship between Xing Xiao and Mu Chichi was not ordinary, alright? Of course, he would not offend the Crown Prince for no reason. After all, he still had the ability to help others. But, did they not care about the difference in seniority between them? Moreover, he found Mu Chichi very interesting. She fought against 5 people at the same time and fought against the children of the aristocratic families. Her courage was not something an ordinary daughter of a rich family would have. He wanted to see how far Xing Xiao and Mu Chichi could go. After all, he thought that most of these relationships would end in vain. Moreover, it happened to the Crown Prince. That was the Sheng family. Soon the banquet was about to begin. The guests entered the dining hall one after another. At this time, although Mu Chichi was following behind Grandpa Shin, her eyes were fixed on Xing Xiao. She wanted to know where this man was sitting. Grandpa Shin must be chatting with the elders. But the juniors had their own places to go. Mu Qiqi could not be separated from Shinrui. So when Shinrui called her, she walked over and sat beside Shinrui. Because Mu Qiqi was concerned about where Xing Xiao would be sitting, she did not notice that her chair was different from the others. Shinrui did not touch the chair at all. She only glanced at the back of the chair from the corner of her eyes. Grandpa Lin went to the stage to give his speech. Soon the banquet began. Mu Qiqi saw Xing Xiao, who was not far away from her. Xing Xiao looked back at her and comforted her. "Be good. I will bring you home later." Mu Qiqi did not mind that Xing Xiao was not by her side. But after a while she felt that her back was itchy. So she scratched it subconsciously. Then she rubbed her fingers and found something powdery. She brought it to her nose and sniffed it. Shinrui saw her action and asked, "What's wrong? Is there a problem?" "Nothing." Mu Qiqi shook her head. But if Mu Qiqi observed carefully, she could see that Shinrui was a little nervous. After all, she had never done such a thing before. She just wanted to show off in front of Xing Xiao. So she could only let Mu Qiqi suffer. But she seemed to have forgotten something. Mu Qiqi was a medical student. Chapter 204. Shinrui noticed that Mu Qiqi was restless. She quickly looked at her body. She noticed that her back was red and swollen. She exclaimed, "Qiqi, your back, it's red and swollen. It's so big." Mu Qiqi was having a hard time holding it in. Shinrui stood up and said, "I'll send you to the hospital now." Xing Xiao noticed Mu Qiqi's condition. He got up from his seat and walked toward them. Because Xing Xiao was too eye-catching, many of the guests saw what happened. "What happened?" "Someone did something to my chair. It's been smeared with medicine." Mu Qiqi answered Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao steadied Mu Qiqi's body. Then he looked at her back and frowned. Soon he called Jing Yun, who was outside the arena. "Buy all the anti-allergy drugs in the pharmacy? Uncle Xiao, I'll buy them for Qiqi." "It's okay." Mu Qiqi was suspicious of Shinrui. Shinrui seemed to have felt it too. She immediately explained to Mu Qiqi, "Qiqi, are you suspecting me? I didn't mean to get this position. I didn't know it would turn out like this. I'll go and buy the medicine for you now." Shinrui looked concerned and wronged. "Maybe it's those devils?" Mu Qiqi did not want to wrong Shinrui. "Wait for me. I'll buy the medicine for you now. I'll be back soon." Shinrui looked nervous. Then she got up from the chair. If Mu Qiqi guessed it right, it should be sulfonamide. It was used to treat burns. But if it was overdosed, it would cause allergic reactions. Xing Xiao did not care about Shinrui at all. He did not care that Shinrui wanted his attention. Xing Xiao knew that his little one was suffering. So he helped her up from the chair. Then he took off his suit jacket and put it on her. Then he left with her. Shinrui did not expect Xing Xiao to be so excited. She followed behind them. It was a good chance to show off. "What's wrong?" Grandpa Shin looked at the three of them from afar. Why did they stand up from the dining table instead of eating? Shinrui wanted to explain. But Xing Xiao had already helped Mu Qiqi up. He said to Grandpa Shin, "Xiaoqi is allergic. I'll send her to the hospital now." "Why are you allergic?" "The chair was smeared with medicine. You'll have to ask your granddaughter why she chose that spot out of all the others." "Old Shin, I've said it before. If the Shin family doesn't like Qiqi, the Sheng family can raise her." Grandpa Shin understood what Xing Xiao meant. Seeing that Mu Qiqi was really upset, he said, "I will find out the truth and give you an explanation." Xing Xiao did not say anything. He held Mu Qiqi and turned around. When he saw Shinrui behind them, he immediately said to her, "You don't have to follow us. I'm worried about Qiqi. You don't have to worry about her." With that, he left the birthday party with Mu Qiqi. Shinrui stopped. She had mixed feelings. She wanted to act like a sincere sister. But when she chased after them, Xing Xiao had already left with Mu Qiqi. Since Shinrui was sitting with Mu Qiqi, she was definitely a suspect. Of course, Shinrui was a smart person. She knew that Xing Xiao and Grandpa Shin were suspecting her. But she did it on purpose. It was better than Xing Xiao not remembering her at all. On the other hand, Mu Qiqi was sitting in the passenger seat. She wanted to scratch her back. "Don't scratch me again. I'm not careful enough." Mu Qiqi frowned. There were beads of sweat on her forehead. While Xing Xiao was driving, he called Jing Yun. "Don't buy the medicine yet. Go to the hotel and get the surveillance footage first. It's not that serious. We found it early," said Mu Qiqi. "Xiao Xiao, you have to believe me. I'm a medical student. I know the dosage. Do you have any idea?" Xing Xiao wanted to ask the suspect. It's hard to guard against a sneaky person. But I can't rule out Shinrui's suspicion. Mu Qiqi felt uncomfortable. Because Shen Rui was too worried about her, she had doubts in her heart. Xiao Xiao, if it's the Shen family's business, don't interfere. If it wasn't for the fact that you're our benefactor, we would have been exposed to all kinds of rumors. Little one, is this what you should worry about? Xing Xiao sneered. If he was not confident, why would he show up? I know better than you. I can guess what those people are thinking even with my eyes closed. No one is my match when it comes to playing with people's hearts. Mu Qiqi endured the itch. She knew that she had to be more vigilant in the future. Because Shen Rui might use her to get close to Xing Xiao. The Lin family was alarmed when Xing Xiao left with Mu Qiqi. So the Lin family asked Lin Mu and to apologize to Grandpa Shen after the banquet. Grandpa Shen heard Lin Mu An's apology. He waved his hand and said that it was not the Lin family's fault. Moreover, he went to Shen Rui's side after explaining the reason to his comrades. Shen Rui's mind was filled with the image of Xing Xiao leaving with Mu Qiqi. So she was in a daze during the banquet. She was not afraid of being found out. She was just thinking about whether it was worthwhile to do it. Rui, what is going on? Shen Rui was confused when she saw Grandpa Shen sitting down. Grandpa, I don't know why Mu Qiqi is allergic. I saw an empty seat here after we entered the banquet. So I saved one for Mu Qiqi. I don't know why this happened either. What is the truth? The CCTV can't lie to us. Grandpa Shen was not easy to fool. But he could not hurt his granddaughter's feelings. So his voice was gentle. Rui, I know that your mother does not like Mu Qiqi. But I hope that you will not become like your mother. It happened at the Lin family's banquet. So Lin Mu and asked someone to take away the chair that Mu Qiqi was sitting on. He asked the doctor to do a full examination. He also checked the CCTV to find out who was the most suspicious person. It was obvious that she did not respect the Lin family by doing such a thing at the Lin family's banquet. Grandpa, don't suspect me. Am I not good enough to Mu Qiqi? Shen Rui asked Grandpa Shen. I understand that you suspect Mommy. But I am me and Mommy is Mommy. I hope that you can believe me. I will never hurt Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi's identity is special. She was born in a special family. I can understand that outsiders look down on her and bully her. But I can't stand it when a family member attacks another family member. I just want to be frank with you. Whether it is Mu Qiqi who treats you or you who treats Mu Qiqi, I hope that you will be like sisters and care for each other. I want to find out who is the one who has the dirty tricks. Chapter 205. Grandpa, I really didn't do it. You can ask Mu and to investigate it. Shen Rui was very sure. Grandpa Shen looked deeply into his granddaughter's eyes. Seeing that she did not avoid his gaze, he nodded. Grandpa understands. Grandpa will investigate thoroughly and prove your innocence. Pack up, say goodbye to the Lin family and then go home. Shen Rui nodded. But she still looked aggrieved. The two of them walked to Grandpa Lin. The Lin family apologized to Grandpa Shen. It's our fault for not taking good care of Qiqi. What are you talking about? It's not a big deal. I just hope that Mu and will visit the Shen family often in the future. After chatting for a while, Old Master Lin sent Old Master Shen out of the hotel. After Grandpa Shen got into the car, he felt upset when he saw that Qiqi was not with him. Shen Rui was expressionless too. But it was not because she was worried about Mu Qiqi. It was because she did not maximize the value of this matter. On the other hand, Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi had already returned home. After a checkup, the drugs on Mu Qiqi's body were indeed sulfonamides. Fortunately, she discovered it early and there was no big problem. After reaching home, Mu Qiqi gave Grandpa Shen a call to make sure that she had taken her medicine and would be fine after a night's sleep. Grandpa Shen asked Mu Qiqi to rest early. But Shen Rui said, Grandpa, let's go to the small villa to visit Mu Qiqi. Then we will feel more at ease. In fact, the old man also wanted to see his granddaughter. It's on the way and it's close to the villa. At this moment, Grandpa Shen had hung up the phone. He did not tell Mu Qiqi that he was rushing to the small villa with Shen Rui. More importantly, Mu Qiqi and Xing Xiao were not at the small mansion right now. After talking to Grandpa Shen, Mu Qiqi also called Su Zipei. She told Su Zipei not to worry. But she did not know that 20 minutes later, Grandpa Shen's car drove into the small villa. Seeing that the lights in the villa were on, Shen Rui immediately said to Grandpa Shen, I'll knock on the door. Grandpa Shen nodded and followed Shen Rui. Soon, Su Zipei opened the door and walked out of the living room. Su Zipei did not know Shen Rui but she knew Grandpa Shen. She was shocked when she saw Grandpa Shen coming to the small villa without any warning. But she maintained her composure. Miss Su, is Chi-Chi asleep? Grandpa Su asked quickly. I slept for a while. Su Zipei looked upstairs and replied, but don't worry. She has taken her medicine. Do you want me to go upstairs and call her? If it's convenient. Shin Ruoi answered politely, hello, Aunt. I'm Shin Ruoi, Chi-Chi's cousin. Su Zipei nodded and said to Lu Wenhua in the living room, Wenhua, go upstairs and call Chi-Chi. Tell her that Grandpa is here to see her. Mu Chi-Chi wasn't even in the small mansion at the moment. Where could he go to get her? But Lu Wenhua reacted quickly. He went upstairs and knocked on Mu Chi-Chi's door. He called her name and pretended that they were having a conversation. After a while, Lu Wenhua went downstairs and said to Grandpa Shin, Grandpa Shin, I think it's better to let Chi-Chi sleep first today. She has taken her medicine and is very dizzy now. We don't want her to wake up again. Grandpa Shin felt that it was reasonable. He took 2 steps back and said, then I will come tomorrow. Okay, I will send you off. Grandpa Shin waved his hand and pointed at the driveway behind him. We will go back since it's on the way. You should rest early. Su Zipei and Lu Wenhua looked at each other. After sending them off, they heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily, Grandpa Shin believes me. Otherwise, I don't know how to explain myself if he asks about Chi-Chi's whereabouts. I don't know how long we can hide it from him. Lu Wenhua was worried. It's not easy to fool the Shin family. Moreover, Grandpa Shin really cares about Chi-Chi. I don't know how he will feel if he knows about the relationship between Chi-Chi and young Master Sheng. It can't be helped. They are not related by blood. If they are separated because of such a ridiculous seniority, Chi-Chi will be very sad. I believe in young Master Sheng. He will make the best arrangements. Wenhua, don't worry. Of course, Lu Wenhua trusted Xing Xiao. But he was still worried about Chi-Chi. After all, he was Chi-Chi's uncle now. Grandpa Shin did not notice anything wrong. But it was different for Shin Ruoi. She had good hearing. She did not hear Mu Chi-Chi's voice at all. Moreover, there were Mu Chi-Chi's shoes on the shoe cabinet at the door. Did she not need to change her shoes? She felt that Mu Chi-Chi's aunt was hiding something. But she was not sure. She could not tell Grandpa Shin. Otherwise, Grandpa Shin would say that she was trying to stir up trouble again. But she felt that there was something wrong with Mu Chi-Chi. So, she could only wait for further verification. It was already 11 o'clock at night when they returned to the Shin family. Third daughter-in-law was still waiting in the living room. She had heard about what happened at the banquet from her friend. Mu Chi-Chi was allergic and Grandpa Shin questioned her daughter. It was fine that Mu Chi-Chi was in the limelight. It was fine that Xing Xiao was involved in it. But why was Grandpa Shin so biased towards Mu Chi-Chi? Mom, why aren't you sleeping yet? I'm waiting for you. I'm worried about you. Apart from me, who else in this family will treat you sincerely? Third daughter-in-law pulled Shin Ruoi to her side in an exaggerated manner. She sounded angry. Dad, Mu Chi-Chi is unlucky. She fell into someone else's trap. Why are you blaming Ruoi? Mom, you don't know what happened at that time. Shin Ruoi explained quickly. I only know that your grandpa doesn't trust you at all. He only has Mu Chi-Chi in his heart now. So, are you going to argue with me? Grandpa Shin turned around and looked at third daughter-in-law coldly. Dad, you're being unreasonable. I'm afraid that things will turn out like this. It's fine that you love Mu Chi-Chi. You want to be fair. But Mu Chi-Chi was tricked. Why are you blaming Ruoi? If this goes on, we'll all move away. Grandpa Shin snorted coldly and ignored third daughter-in-law. After Grandpa Shin left, third daughter-in-law grabbed Shin Ruoi and asked, Did you really use the medicine? Shin Ruoi's gaze changed. She did not answer her mother's question. Instead, she walked quickly to her room. Answer me, my daughter. Shin Ruoi did not answer her mother. Because she knew that her mother wanted her to marry into the Lin family. But she was not interested in the Lin family at all. She was just thinking about how she could get closer to Xing Xiao. Obviously, Mu Chi-Chi was the only way. But if she did that today, Mu Chi-Chi? Chapter 206. But if she told Mu Chi-Chi about it, everything would be over if Mu Chi-Chi did not keep her mouth shut. Especially if Grandpa and the others knew about it. So, Shin Ruoi decided not to tell Mu Chi-Chi that she liked Xing Xiao. After all, she could always find another chance. But if Mu Chi-Chi found out about it, she would be in a passive position. Moreover, Mu Chi-Chi was not a person who could adapt to circumstances. She was unmoved by force or persuasion. No one knew who taught her that, but she was so similar to Xing Xiao. She simply wouldn't know that Mu Chi-Chi was Xing Xiao's proudest masterpiece. Not long after Grandpa Shin and Mu Chi-Chi left, Su Zipei told Mu Chi-Chi about Grandpa Shin and Mu Chi-Chi's visit. Although they managed to send Grandpa Shin away this time, it was hard to guarantee that there would be a next time. Moreover, Muchichi felt uncomfortable when she knew that Shinrui liked Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao saw Muchichi lying beside him without saying a word. So, he put down the ointment and pinched Muchichi's nose. "What are you thinking about? Why are you so deep in thought?" "I just feel that our relationship is getting more and more tense. If Shinrui really likes you, I can't get along with her openly. It's not right. I don't want to be a white lotus. Although Grandpa managed to fool him tonight, he will know that I don't live in the villa one day. So, do you feel guilty when you are with me?" Xing Xiao asked her. "I just feel that we won't be able to keep it a secret any longer. What should we do then?" Muchichi asked Xing Xiao helplessly. She seemed to be really confused. No matter what happens in the end, no one can shake your position." Xing Xiao hugged Muchichi in his arms. "No one can stop you from being my little lover. So, just do what you think is right. Don't worry about anything." "Okay." Muchichi buried her head in his chest. "I believe you. I like you the most, Xiao Xiao." Since Shinrui's matter had troubled his little one, he would certainly think of a way to solve it. Moreover, it would not be an ordinary way because it would not be able to solve Shinrui's problem. He had to find a way to solve the problem once and for all. Xing Xiao hugged Muchichi and patted her back. After a while, he heard Muchichi say, "I will draw a line with Shinrui tomorrow. You are mine." Muchichi was stunned. In the darkness, Xing Xiao smiled and kissed Muchichi's ear softly. Wasn't it hell for him to be with Muchichi? It was just as torturous. But for this little one he would use all his means and strength. The next day, because it was the weekend, Muchichi prepared some gifts for Shinrui. Then she brought them to the Shin family. On the other hand, she wanted to cover up the lie she told last night. "Why are you here so early in the morning? If you're not feeling well, you should rest more," Grandpa Xing said. "I wanted to see Sister Rui, so I came here. Moreover, I was asleep when you came to see me last night. I feel bad for making you come here for nothing. Go and see your sister." Grandpa Xing saw her holding the gifts. He thought that they would become good sisters. He was happy. But Muchichi was here to return the favor. Shinrui felt strange when she saw Muchichi handing over the gifts. "I gave you those gifts for our first meeting. I don't want you to return the gifts. We're sisters." "Sister Rui, I'm not a likable person. I don't like to hide things. I feel uneasy when you give me such expensive gifts. I'll feel better if you give me these gifts." "If that's the case then, fine. But, Chichi, did you misunderstand what happened last night? I really didn't know that on the chair." "It has nothing to do with that." Shinrui looked at Muchichi carefully. She saw the alienation in her eyes. She nodded. "It's good that you didn't misunderstand. Then I'll go fishing with Grandpa." Shinrui smiled at her. She did not force her. After Muchichi left, Shinrui felt that her efforts were in vain. Muchichi was not just unlikable. She was a tough person. She was like a porcupine. She was hard to deal with. Third aunt saw her daughter's expression when she entered the room. She asked about it and found out that Muchichi was here to return the gifts. "Why did you flatter that B***** for no reason? Why is she worth your effort? You should have put the medicine into her mouth last night and disfigured her face." "Mom, you don't know anything." Since Muchichi did not appreciate her kindness, she did not need to waste her effort on Muchichi. Although Xing Xiao treated Muchichi well, she knew that Xing Xiao did not see Muchichi for a long time. Of course, it was third aunt who told her that. Because Jing Yun kept emphasizing that Xing Xiao and Muchichi were not as close as they thought. Grandpa Shin smiled when he saw Muchichi at the fish pond. "Chichi, tell me honestly. Do you suspect that your sister did what happened last night?" "Grandpa, my words do not carry much weight in the Shin family. Although second aunt and second uncle have accepted me, I am still an outsider to the others." Muchichi told Grandpa Shin frankly. "You don't have to care about your third aunt. Grandpa, if I do something that makes you sad one day, will you still accept me as your granddaughter?" Muchichi looked at Grandpa Shin's fishing rod. She wanted to know what Grandpa Shin would say. "You are just like your father. You don't play by the rules. You don't have a strong sense of the world. You are not bound by it. I just hope that you will not regret anything you do." Muchichi smiled when she got the answer. Did he mean that he would allow her to get into trouble? "Come, I will go fishing with you." "Forget it. You can't sit still. I will ask Shinlin to do it." Not far from them, Shinlin had entered the fish pond too. Actually, he had been standing outside for a while. He could hear their conversation. "To me, you're not an outsider. Chichi, although I admit that I'm useless, You can tell me if you want to use your fists. Moreover, if I have to choose between you and Shinroi, I'll definitely choose to stand on your side. You have a cute side now. Tell me when you join the army. I will send you on your way. It's still early. I will join the army next spring. But I am starting to learn how to exercise now. Shinlin was finally a man like this. Muchichi felt very pleased. Chapter 207. Muchichi stayed at the Shen's residence until 10 in the morning, before finding an excuse to leave. Then she had Uncle Lin send her to the hotel they had agreed to meet at. By then Xing Xiao and Lin Mu were already in the private room. When she entered the private room, she saw Xing Xiao waving at her lazily. "Come here," Lin Mu smiled. "Just as I expected." Muchichi sat down beside Xing Xiao and looked at Lin Mu in confusion. Lin Mu smiled and explained, "It's because of the results of the investigation at the birthday banquet. I wanted to ask you out at first, but I didn't think it would be a good idea, so I called the Crown Prince. But I didn't expect that the Crown Prince's feelings for you were unusual, and I asked you out to verify my theory." "So?" Xing Xiao asked dangerously. "I don't have any ulterior motives. I just think it's interesting, and a combination like you two is quite fresh. Knowing too much might not be a good thing." "What are you talking about, Crown Prince? There are 1,000 ways to keep me from knowing, and it's clear that you trust me since you're being so generous." Lin Mu sipped his tea, his expression relaxed. "So don't worry. I really want to know if you two could get together in the end. Just let me know if you need me. Do you think I lack a friend like you?" "Of course you don't, Crown Prince. But surely you do, Miss Chichi." With that, he straightened his clothes and turned to them. "Tell me about the results of last night's investigation. The drug on the chair. Skip that. I know what it is." Muchichi said straightforwardly. "Well, according to the surveillance footage, there were several people who touched this chair, so we asked them all for questioning, but in the end we didn't get anything out of them. However, there was one thing that didn't escape my eyes. That is, a person who didn't belong to this area also touched this chair, so I used some tricks to force a confession out of him. That person told me that it was Major General Zhong's son who asked him to do it. Didn't Miss Chichi have a grudge with the Zhong family last night? So it's whoever he says?" Xing Xiao clearly didn't believe the results. Lin Mu shrugged helplessly. "I couldn't find any other evidence. But after what happened last night, Miss Chichi has become famous. Now everyone knows that the Shen family's girl is very powerful. I think you're just being sarcastic." Muchichi glared at him. Lin Mu raised his hands in surrender as he chewed on his food. "I swear I definitely didn't. Speaking of which, are there any other interesting ladies around Miss Chichi? Why don't you introduce him to me? Seeing the two of you like this, I really want a date too." Muchichi thought that Lin Mu looked like a veteran. Even if she had sisters, she would not dare to introduce them to him. Weren't they pushing their sisters into the fire pit? However, she had not seen Qianqian for a few days. She wondered if Qianqian had recovered from Duan Xiao An's incident. Just as she was thinking, Qianqian sent her a message, asking if Muchichi was free in the afternoon to go shopping with her. Muchichi smiled and replied that she was having lunch at the hotel and had time in the afternoon. Sometimes best friends were like that. It was as if they had telepathy and could think of the same thing at the same time. "Qianqian will come over later. You can go back to Huangyao by yourself. Don't worry about me," Muchichi whispered to Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao patted Muchichi's head with a doting look that no one else could understand. Lin Mu was stunned. "Since this is the result of the investigation, I will go to the Shen family in the afternoon." Because he knew that the result of the investigation would not affect Xing Xiao's judgment. The three of them finished their lunch happily. At that time, Qianqian arrived at the hotel. Xing Xiao went back to Huangyao while Lin Mu and Muchichi left the hotel together. They met Lu Qianqian at the entrance. "Let's go. I want to go all out today." Qianqian opened the car door and let Muchichi sit in the front passenger seat. The two of them did not say goodbye to Lin Mu and left in front of him. Lin Mu saw Lu Qianqian. He thought he knew the gossip in Jianchuan quite well. So he knew who Lu Qianqian was. Some time ago the miscarriage had caused quite a stir. Today he saw that it was also a little girl. Indeed, birds of a feather flocked together. She was as bold as Muchichi and dared to do things that were out of line, although he did not think that it was a good thing. "Why did you ask me to leave?" On the way to the shopping, Lu Qianqian asked Muchichi. "Who was that man at the entrance just now? Did you abandon the crown prince?" "The young master of the Lin family." Muchichi brushed it off. and Xiao Xiao was there just now. I just thought that Lin must be a Casanova. So, I subconsciously wanted to protect you from him. With my reputation now, who would come to pick up my used shoes? Lu Qianqian knew herself very well. But she sounded a little sad. Haven't you forgotten about that? How could such a thing be forgotten in a few words? But that did not stop Lu Qianqian from starting over. The two of them had endless topics to talk about when they met, and went shopping for an entire afternoon. And it was precisely because of Mu Qiqi's agitation at the Lin family's banquet that Mama Xing became even more curious about the child. That afternoon she went to Jing Yun and asked him to arrange for her to meet the child. After all, she had heard that Xing Xiao was taking good care of the child. Jing Yun knew that he could not refuse this time and so told Xing Xiao. But Xing Xiao was not worried at all, and simply nodded calmly in agreement. Since she wants to meet, I'll arrange it for her. Young master, aren't you worried at all? Worried about what? Xing Xiao asked in return. Chapter 208. Since Xing Xiao's mother wants to meet Mu Qiqi, I don't have any objections. Just make the arrangements. As for Mu Qiqi, I will remind her not to lose her manners. But as for the Sheng family, you must guarantee that my granddaughter will not be mistreated. That was Grandpa Shin's request. Of course, Grandpa Shin. Jing Yun nodded and promised Grandpa Shin respectfully. I hope Mu Qiqi can keep her composure. It was still unclear whether Mu Qiqi could keep her composure, because she still did not know that she was going to meet her future mother-in-law. But some people in the Shin family were the first to lose their composure. For example, Third Brother's wife. When Third Brother's wife knew that Mu Qiqi was going to the Sheng family, she could not hold back her desire to target Mu Qiqi. She said, how can a bastard with another surname have the right to enjoy the privileges of the Shin family? She felt that the Sheng family wanted to meet Mu Qiqi because of the glory that the Shin family brought to Mu Qiqi. If Mu Qiqi had a good relationship with the Sheng family, wouldn't Roy have to listen to Mu Qiqi even more when she was in the Shin family? No, I have to go to the Sheng family. Third Uncle Shin Qinfeng could not help but hate his wife when he heard that. Aren't you overreacting? Mu Qiqi is Xing Zhao's savior and Xing Xiao has supported Mu Qiqi. Isn't it normal for the Sheng family to want to meet Mu Qiqi with such a relationship? Why do you have to interfere? I just want to tell Madame Sheng how cunning Mu Qiqi is. Don't let her lead a wolf into the house. Shin Qinfeng was helpless. He could only wave his hand. Do whatever you want. But if father knows about this, just wait and see. Third Brother's wife did not care. She went out of the Shin family's door in the middle of the night. She did not tell anyone where she was going, because she was going to the Sheng family to meet Xing Zhao's mother. Mama Sheng was confused. Although she was familiar with the Shin family, it was the first time that someone from the Shin family came to meet her alone. So she asked someone to take good care of her. A few minutes later, Mama Sheng met the third daughter-in-law of the Shin family. According to seniority, Mama Sheng was one generation older than the third daughter-in-law. But in terms of age they were about the same. Mama Sheng was just a few years older. Ziyin, why are you so late? Is there something urgent? When third daughter-in-law saw Mama Sheng, she quickly held her hand warmly and said, Today, when Special Assistant Jing Yun came to the Shin family, I only knew that you wanted to meet that foreign girl in the Shin family. I was afraid that you would be fooled by her, so I quickly came to remind you. Oh, it's true that I want to see her, but is this girl so annoying? I only hate that I can't make a decision. Step by step, this girl entered the Shin family from the Mu family. She's like a whale eating away at the Shin family. Even if I talk about her for 3 days and 3 nights, I still can't express my dissatisfaction and hatred towards her. Just look at what happened to the Rong family. You will know how cunning she is. She has bought over the second elder of the Shin family. Now she has the final say in most of the Shin family. In my opinion, she had a motive when she approached your 8th elder. Mama Sheng's eyes darkened after she heard that. Tell me slowly. I also want to know if this girl is what the rumors say. Everyone has been fooled by her. Third daughter-in-law started from the Mu family. First, she said that Mu Qiqi had subdued her own sister mercilessly. Not only that, she had ruined her sister's reputation. Now she was trapped in the slums. She would never be able to make a comeback in her life. After that, Mu Qiqi abandoned the Mu family. She occupied the small villa of the Sheng family and at the same time, she tried to please Grandpa Shin. She did not want to let go of both sides. Then Mu Qiqi revealed what happened to the Rong family. She forced Rong Junhan and her family into a dead end. Shin Lin and his wife got divorced just like that. Second brother and his family were very grateful to her. I was really worried about them. And I believe you've heard about what happened at the banquet yesterday. She was the one who stirred up trouble and fell into someone else's trap. But she slandered my daughter and did something to her. I've never seen such a vicious little bitch before. Don't be fooled by this little bitch. Mama Sheng smiled and patted third daughter-in-law's hand after she heard that. Don't worry. I know how to deal with her if she's really that kind of person. That's great. I'm just afraid that you'll be as stupid as the Shen family. Third daughter-in-law stayed in the Sheng family until late at night. It was obvious that she had complained a lot to Mama Sheng. Mama Sheng listened to her all the way. She had her own judgment. If Mu Chichi was really that kind of person, the Sheng family would not tolerate her. But what if Mu Chichi was framed? Shen Ruoi did not see her mother after that afternoon. She only saw her mother coming home late at night. She asked quickly, "Mother, where have you been?" Sin Suyun dragged Shen Ruoi to her room. Then she said to Shen Ruoi, "I went to the Sheng family. Madam Sheng wants to see that little bitch. So, I went there to remind her not to be fooled by that little bitch." Shen Ruoi was stunned when she heard that. She still did not want to let go of the chance to see Mu Chichi. So she blamed her mother. "Mother, why did you do such a thing? What do you mean by that? That little bitch has been plotting against the Shen family. Isn't that despicable enough? And you're still protecting her. Not only did she steal your limelight at the banquet yesterday, she even framed you. How can you let her step on you?" Was what happened yesterday considered as defamation? In Sin Suyun's heart, it was considered defamation if she could not find any evidence. The Lin family came in the afternoon. They said that it was the Zhong family who did it. Grandpa also apologized to me. Do you think that an apology is enough for defaming you? Roy, don't be silly. Everyone is thinking for themselves now. How can you still be so naive? You'll know how good Mu Chichi is when she betrays you. Anyway, you're not allowed to interfere in the Sheng family's matter. Isn't she going to meet Madame Sheng? Let her go. I want to see if Madame Sheng will skin her alive. No one knew that Sin Suyun had done such a shameless thing. As an elder, she went to someone else's house and made things difficult for her younger generation. Mama Sheng did not tell anyone about it. It was because she wanted to see the real Mu Chichi. Did Xing Xiao really raise a wolf outside? Mu Chichi only knew that she was going to meet her future mother-in-law that night. She jumped up from the bed when she heard what Xing Xiao said. "Xiao Xiao, can you say that again? Why? Are you afraid of meeting my mother?" Chapter 209. Didn't I tell you now? Xing Xiao held her down when he saw her panic. You don't have to be so agitated. That's your mother? That's your mommy. She's just curious about you, but she doesn't know about our relationship. So you're not meeting your mother-in-law. You're meeting an elder. Xing Xiao comforted her. I was afraid that you'd be like this. That's why I didn't tell you in advance. Otherwise you'd be even more nervous. But I don't have to prepare anything? Mu Chichi pointed at her nose and asked. Xing Xiao shook his head. I taught you. Your temper is similar to mine. Do you think my mother can't stand me enough? Do you still need to pretend to be obedient? But I'll still be nervous. You left me unprepared. Why don't you bring me to the cloakroom and help me choose something to wear tomorrow? That way I'll feel more at ease. Okay. I don't want you to worry all night. With that, Xing Xiao got off the bed first and opened his arms to her. Mu Chichi stood up from the bed and threw herself into Xing Xiao's arms. She held onto Xing Xiao's narrow waist and let him hug her little butt. They went to the cloakroom and rummaged through the wardrobe. Xing Xiao chose a few dresses for Mu Chichi. Finally, the little one felt a little more at ease. Tell me quickly. Does your mother have any taboos or preferences? Xing Xiao was helpless. He should have told her tomorrow. She would probably be chattering like this tonight. I told you, you don't have to be so cautious. But I'm afraid she won't like me. She won't. What if? Before Mu Chichi could finish her sentence, Xing Xiao had already pinned her against the wall and kissed her, using the most ferocious method to shut her up at once. So, look. Mu Chichi still wanted to say something. But Xing Xiao had already carried her from the cloakroom to the bedroom and put her on the big bed. Xiao Xiao. Mu Chichi exclaimed. But her white nightgown had already been torn open. She no longer had the time or energy to think about Mama Sheng. Xing Xiao did not give her the chance at all. A lively scene unfolded in Xing Xiao's domineering plunder. She could not think about anything else aside from their breathing. This man was so beautiful and charming. How could she resist? Then Mu Chichi's back was turned to face Xing Xiao. Sheng Xiao slapped Muqiqi's little round butt. Silly thing. Even if my mother doesn't like you, I like you. Isn't that enough? I like you. Although they had been together for so long, she had never heard him say something like that. I like you. Muqiqi's heart melted in that very moment, leaving only the smile on her face and the warmth in the depths of her heart. After being tormented for the whole night, Muqiqi only got the chance to rest when it was almost dawn. But now she did not even want to move a single strand of her hair. She could only let the man take care of her, protect her, and cherish her. After Sheng Xiao was satisfied, he gave Jing Yun a call aside from taking care of the little one. We'll meet at Xing Mansion. Xiaoqi will be nervous. Talk to my mother today and make other arrangements. Yes, young master. Jing Yun received the order and went to Huang Yao early in the morning to look for Mama Sheng. He told her about Muqiqi's nervousness. Madam, Miss Muqiqi has been very nervous since last night. Nervous about what? Can I eat her up? Mama Sheng chuckled. Then she thought of a good idea. If that's the case, tell Muqiqi that I'll visit Shin Mansion tonight. I haven't seen old Shin for a long time. Wouldn't it be better for her to be accompanied by her family? Thank you for your understanding, madam. To be honest, Mama Sheng did not have to accommodate Muqiqi at all. But she gave in. Soon the Shin family received the news. A few people in the family were very happy, especially Cin Suyun. Mama Sheng moved the place to meet Muqiqi from the Sheng family to the Shin family. Was it because she did not want Muqiqi to dirty her family? Moreover, they could see Mama Sheng teaching Muqiqi a lesson with their own eyes. That was more worthwhile than anything else. So, Cin Suyun was the happiest one when Mama Sheng came to Xing Mansion. Grandpa Shin asked Huang Yu to prepare for it. Don't neglect our guest. Don't worry, father. It's Muqiqi's first time meeting someone from the Xing family other than the crown prince. As her second aunt, I will definitely help her. Huang Yu nodded. Ever since the incident with Rong Junhan, Huang Yu had changed. Grandpa Shin was quite satisfied with her. But he still felt bad when he thought of third aunt. Cin Suyun could not help but mock Huang Yu when she saw Huang Yu agreeing to it. Muqiqi is meeting someone from the Sheng family. How can we, the Shin family, follow her around? What is this? The Sheng family has been on good terms with us for generations. Even if Madame Xing does not want to meet Muqiqi, she is still our guest. Of course we should not neglect her. Just lick that little B*****'s feet. Let's see what you can get from it. Don't call her a little B***** every time you open your mouth. Muqiqi is eldest brother's daughter. She is the real daughter of the Shin family. TSK. Cin Suyun did not continue to argue with her. Anyway, there would be a good show tonight. Why should she care about it now? Huang Yu was really troubled by Cin Suyun. But she did not know what kind of dirty things Cin Suyun had done in the dark. Huang Yu did not care about Cin Suyun. Instead, she was preparing for the dinner. On the other hand, Muqiqi was a little calmer when she knew that Mama Sheng would meet her in the Shin family's guest house. After all, her family was there. So, Muqiqi went to the Shin family after her classes. Oh, the most important person of the Shin family is back. Cin Suyun started to mock Muqiqi when she saw her. Our whole family has to be busy just so that you can meet your guest. Muqiqi, you are really a big shot. Third aunt, you don't have to be so mean. I'm mean? You don't have to be so mean. Cin Suyun walked to Muqiqi's ear and smiled slyly. Then she whispered to Muqiqi, do you know that I went to the Sheng family just for you yesterday? I told Madame Xing everything about you. Do you know how she reacted when she saw you today? Muqiqi was stunned. You are so shameless. Don't worry. They are all compliments. You don't have to thank me. How could she say anything nice? Perhaps the truth had been twisted beyond recognition. In Madame Sheng's heart, she had become a wicked schemer. If Madame Sheng hates me tonight, I will tear your mouth apart in front of everyone. Chapter 210. What good will it do to you to pick on me? You are a woman with another surname. You came to the Shen family suddenly. Not only did you not beg for everyone to accept you, but you are also so arrogant. If I don't pick on you, who else should I pick on? Moreover, don't you think that you are snatching Ruoi's things? Cin Suyun said it as if she was a righteous person. But she could not help it. Muqiqi was the one who stood in Shin Ruoi's way. Do you know what Ruoi wants? Muqiqi sneered and asked her back. It's none of your business what Ruoi wants. Because no matter what she wants, you have to give in to her. Cin Suyun said that she was arrogant. Wasn't she arrogant? Don't say that I don't want to give in to her. Even if I give in to her, Ruoi has to take it. Then Muchichi pushed Sensuyun away. Just wait and see. Tonight's show is going to be exciting. Sensuyun's sarcastic voice came from behind. But Muchichi went straight into Grandpa Shin's study room. Grandpa, why do you look so dejected? Grandpa Shin asked her. What happened? It's not good for the Sheng family to see your face. Muchichi did not complain in front of Grandpa Shin. Instead, she sent a message to Xing Xiao. Third aunt went to the Sheng family to make things difficult for me yesterday. Xiao Xiao, your mother doesn't like me anymore, does she? Xing Xiao read the message and suddenly laughed. What are you afraid of? If my mother doesn't like you, will she make you so sad? Of course she will be sad. Because she is your mother. I want her to like me, don't worry. If someone really does that, you will not be the one who will be embarrassed. Trust me, okay? Xing Xiao told Muchichi confidently. She's my mother. Don't you think I don't know her? All right. I trust you. Since it had happened and Sensuyun was so shameless, she could only deal with it as it came. But after this she would settle the score with third aunt. Thinking of this, Muchichi cheered up. It was not worth it to let such a piece of trash spoil her mood. The others in the Shin family knew nothing about it. But Muchichi was not the only one who was nervous when they knew that Mama Sheng was coming to the Shin family. It was because Shin Rui wanted to leave a good impression in front of Mama Sheng. She liked Xing Xiao. If she wanted to be with Xing Xiao, she must be liked by the Sheng family. So, she believed that she needed to be liked by Mama Sheng more than Muchichi. So, before Mama Sheng came to the Shin family, Shin Rui locked herself in her room and dressed herself up. After a while she walked out of the room. Sensuyun was shocked. Daughter, why are you dressed like this? Didn't you say that an esteemed guest was coming? So, I dressed myself up. Shin Rui turned around in front of Sensuyun. Am I beautiful? Of course it is. Sensuyun sighed. With her daughter's figure, appearance and talent, how could she lose to Muchichi? But that little slut had gotten Grandfather Shin's favor. She really didn't know if the Shin family was blind or not. At the moment, Shin Rui was wearing a long yellow dress. It accentuated her good figure. With her exquisite makeup and luxurious jewelry, she looked no different from a celebrity. But it was really exaggerated to dress like this at home. But Sensuyun felt that it was not wrong for her daughter to dress like this in order to outshine Muchichi. Soon, Shin Rui went to the living room of the Shin family. The others in the Shin family felt strange when they saw her like this. But Muchichi understood why Shin Rui did that. She wanted to leave a deep impression in front of Xiao Xiao's mother. Chichi, look at your cousin. She looks like she is going to walk on the red carpet. Huang Yu smiled beside Muchichi's ear. Look at you. You look so plain. Muchichi looked at herself. She was wearing a short white dress. Although it was not gorgeous, she looked cute and cute. She smiled too. I think this is good. It is good. There is a saying that goes too much is as bad as not enough. Sensuyun knew that Muchichi and Huang Yu were talking about her daughter. What? Was she jealous? Muchichi did not bother about her. Anyway, third aunt was thinking about how to watch a good show the whole night. But according to Xiao Xiao, she was afraid that she would not be able to watch a good show. Instead, she would be the one in the show. Soon it was 7 o'clock in the evening. Huang Yu had asked the chef to prepare the exquisite dishes. They were waiting for Mama Sheng to come so that they could have dinner. At that moment, the whole family was waiting in the living room. It was because they were going to welcome the distinguished guest. Mama Sheng was very punctual. At 7:15 p.m., her car drove into the Shin family's courtyard. She brought a gift with her. She was very thoughtful. Grandpa Shin. Mama Sheng went forward and shook hands with Grandpa Shin. It's been a long time. How are you? It was the first time Muchichi met Xiao Xiao's mother. Her first impression of her was that she was very elegant. She was wearing a cheongsam and she behaved very well. She exuded a noble aura from her bones. It was not something that ordinary people could compare with. Moreover, Xiao Xiao looked like his mother. Her hair was medium length but it was slightly curly. Her skin was fair and supple. She was so charming at such a young age. One could imagine how good Xiao Xiao's mother was at maintaining her looks. The Shin family was busy greeting Mama Sheng. Shin Rui walked to Mama Sheng and held her hand. Auntie, you haven't seen Rui for a long time. What auntie? You are so rude. Mama Sheng was Shin Rui's grandmother. But auntie, you are so young. How can I call you grandmother? Shin Rui immediately refuted her grandpa. Your mouth is still so sweet. Mama Sheng patted the back of Shin Rui's hand and praised her. Then Mama Sheng noticed Muchichi, who was standing beside Grandpa Sheng. She was the legendary little girl. You are Chichi, right? Chi-Chi, greet her. Grandpa Shin said immediately. Even Xing Xiao has to be disciplined. You should be polite too. Call her grandmother? Mu Chi-Chi could not bring herself to call her grandmother. In the end, she could only call her, beautiful auntie. Why are you like Roy? Why are you so rude? Grandpa Shin could not help but criticize her. Old Shin, please don't make things difficult for the children. Mama Xing said. Then she waved at Mu Chi-Chi. Come here. Let me see what kind of little girl you are. Why is Xing Xiao so concerned about you? Actually, Mu Chi-Chi was really nervous. Her palms were sweaty. But Mama Xing was not an ordinary person. She did not show any fierce expression from the beginning to the end. Mu Chi-Chi walked over and stood in front of Mama Xing. Mama Xing reached out and stroked Mu Chi-Chi's hair. She smiled. This little girl is really smart. Her eyes are so clear. Chapter 211. This girl is indeed beautiful, but she's too scheming. Sun Suyun took the chance to remind Mama Xing. She just wants to see the world in chaos. Sometimes I really love and hate her. If she is like Roy, we will not have to worry about her. Grandpa Xing was about to lose his temper when he heard that. But Mama Xing smiled and said to Grandpa Xing, children should look different. If they all look the same, the world will be in chaos. Let's go to the dining room. We can talk while we eat. Huang Yu saw that Grandpa Xing was unhappy. So she said to Mama Xing enthusiastically. All right. Chi-Chi, come and sit with me. Mu Chi-Chi did not say anything. But she felt relieved. Because Xiao Xiao knew his mother well. So why would she not believe him? Sun Suyun tried to sow discord but she failed. So she looked at Shin Rui. Shin Rui despised her mother at that time. Because her mother was always stirring up trouble everywhere. Soon they sat down in the dining room of the Shin family. Mama Xing and Mu Chi-Chi sat together. She could not help but ask her, I heard that you are studying forensic science. Why would a girl like to do that kind of work? Grandma passed away in the past. She was wrongly accused as a murderer. But no one could speak up for me. No one could help her. From then on, I felt that there might be many people like her in this world. So, I went to study forensic science. Mu Chi-Chi answered Mama Xing honestly. I've also heard about this matter. That sister of yours? That younger sister of hers is living a miserable life now. Sun Suyun was good at picking the right time to interrupt. Although her sister is cruel and wrongly accused her sister, Chi-Chi, didn't you take revenge on her in the end? Now she doesn't even have enough to eat. No one will think that you are mute even if you don't talk. Grandpa Xing could not stand it anymore. He lost his temper at Sun Suyun. Xiaoqin, come and see Chi-Chi. What made you unhappy? Why did you sow discord? And in front of so many people? And in front of me? Do you think that I am dead? Old Master Shin was furious. Sun Suyun managed to withstand the pressure. She smiled and said, am I not telling the truth? In my opinion, both the Shin and the Sheng family should be careful. After all, you can't judge a book by its cover. Third aunt, Mu Chi-Chi could not bear it anymore. She wanted to retaliate but Mama Xing stopped her. She held her hand and turned to Sun Suyun. Well said. You may know a person's face but you don't know his heart. At first, I didn't want to bring this matter to light. But now, Suyun, it seems that you're a little untactful. Let's not talk about Mu Chi-Chi first. You came to the Sheng family with bad intentions to make irresponsible remarks about me. Don't you think you have no sense of propriety? Sun Suyun did not expect that Mama Sheng would side with Mu Chi-Chi. As for the things you said, I can easily find out what the situation is. Do I need you to teach me? Afraid that I'll be tricked? My son has been in Jianchuan for so many years, has he ever been deceived by anyone? If he can trust someone, it's enough to prove Mu Chi-Chi's character. Don't tell me that I don't even trust my own son and trust you? Do you think that everyone is like you? That they will fall into your trap as long as they provoke you? Actually, I shouldn't say anything in such an occasion in the Shin family. After all, my identity is not suitable. But as my junior and Mu Chi-Chi's elder, what did you do? What did you say? What did you say? What did you do? What did you say? Sun Suyun's face darkened. Because Mama Sheng's words were starting to sound harsh. You keep saying what Mu Chi-Chi did to you and how she bullied you. But from what I see, you're always trying to sow discord. How is it possible for you to be bullied? Sun Suyun clenched her fists after she heard the lecture. She sounded a little angry. I'm just being kind. Is it worth for you to join hands to scold me? It's better to be sensible. After Mama Xing said that, she turned around and looked at Grandpa Shin. Grandpa Shin, please don't blame me for being harsh today. Grandpa Shin waved his hand after he heard that. It's just that we're not strict enough. Mama Xing did not say anything more about Tsun Suyun. She turned around and looked at Mu Chichi. She said, if you're bullied like this again in the future, you can tell Jing Yun. Beautiful aunt will help you to seek justice. Okay. Mu Chichi nodded her head. Tsun Suyun was furious. But she could not do anything. She could only stare at Mu Chichi fiercely. You're such a disgrace. Get out of here. Grandpa Shin did not want Tsun Suyun to stay at the dining table. He did not want to spoil everyone's mood. So he asked Tsun Suyun to leave. Tsun Suyun was embarrassed and angry now. So she could only leave the dining table. Shin Rui, who was sitting at the side, did not react at all. She did not say a word. Because she felt that her mother had embarrassed her. Whatever she said now would only make her feel disgusted. But it was all her mother's fault. She did not live up to her expectations. Why could she not control her mouth? I did not expect that third daughter-in-law would go to someone else's house and gossip about them. I don't know where to put my face now. Mama Xing could understand it. No matter from which angle she looked at it, it was not wrong. Old Shin Chichi is under Xing Zhao's protection. So, as a mother, I will not cause trouble for my son. So, I will take care of Chichi more. It's not appropriate for me to interfere with the Shin family's affairs as an outsider. So, if Tsun Suyun did not come to the Xing family today, I would not have said so much. Chichi saved Xing Zhao's life. So, she is the Xing family's benefactor. So, no matter what happens in the future, if Chichi is in trouble and needs help from the Xing family, just let me know. Grandpa Shin laughed after he heard that. Who would dare to bully her when the Xing family is protecting her? She is a smart girl. Maybe she knows that her backer is here today. So she did not say anything. Grandpa, all right. I won't laugh at you. Grandpa Shin waved his hand. Then he said to Mama Xing, eat more. If you want to see this child in the future, you can ask her to go to the Xing family. You don't have to be so polite like today. Mama Xing laughed too. She looked like a heroine. Mu Chichi looked at Xiao Xiao's mother from the side. She felt that Mama Xing must be an extraordinary woman to be able to raise a son like Xiao Xiao. Chapter 212. Soon, the dinner ended in a joyful atmosphere. The Shin family sent Mama Xing to the door. Of course, Mu Chichi was one of them. She really liked Xiao Xiao's mother as much as she liked Xing Xiao. So this was fate. Somehow Mama Xing felt a strong sense of love for Mu Chichi. It was as if she was doting on her own son. Mu Chichi had a tenacity that refused to admit defeat. It was obvious that it came from Xing Zhao's teachings. She knew her son best. It was not easy for the little girl. So, she was on Mu Chichi's side tonight. Another reason was that Tsun Suyun was really annoying. Alright. Let's stop here. Jianchuan is such a small place. It's easy for us to meet each other. Then, beautiful aunt, please be careful on your way home. Xiao Qin, I won't send you off. Mama Xing shook her head. She pointed at the car that was parked in front of Xing Mansion. Please wait. Chichi, let Xing Xiao bring you to visit Xing Mansion if there's a chance. Okay. Mama Xing smiled. Then she got into the car and left. At that moment, she was not suspicious of her son at all. Because she had always believed that a witch would fall from the sky to subdue someone like Xing Xiao. He would not be interested in someone like Mu Chichi who would let him train her. Therefore, Mama Xing did not think too much about their relationship. She would not know that her son had another family outside. Mu Chichi felt a little guilty when she saw Mama Xing leaving. Xiao Xiao's mother was such a good person. But she bit the hand that fed her. She dragged Xiao Xiao into hell. If their relationship was exposed one day, what would happen to the people who cared about them? Xing Zhao's mother is still a heroine even after so many years. Grandpa Shin could not help but sigh. Xiao Qi, you will have one more support in the future. Behind them, Shin Rui's face turned pale. She did not expect that Mama Xing would not look at her at all. Her attention was all on Mu Chichi. She knew that her mother was in trouble tonight. So, she could not say anything to please her. But even so, she was still better than Mu Chichi. Luckily, the Xing family is knowledgeable. They will not be fooled by a few words. Otherwise, it would be Tsun Suyun's game tonight. Huang Yu put her hands behind her back and sneered. Father, I really don't understand. Why does third daughter-in-law always treat Mu Chichi as a thorn? What did she do to her? Grandpa Shin could not hold back his anger anymore. He walked back to the living room and said to Shin Rui, ask your mother to come here. Grandpa Chichi? Shin Rui's face turned pale. But she could only do as she was told. When she arrived at her mother's house, she pushed the door open and told her mother, "Mom, Grandpa is looking for Chi-Chi? Don't you want to settle the score with me because of what happened just now?" Sin Suyun sneered. She got up from the sofa and walked to the living room of the Shin family. Chi-Chi of the family. Shin Chi-Chi, Sheng and Zhao's and Qi, Sheng's and Zhao's Qi of Chi-Chi of the Yen and said, "Do you still need to be interrogated after what you did?" Grandpa Sheng placed his hands on his knees and snorted coldly at third daughter-in-law. "For the sake of future troubles, let's make our stand clear today. What exactly do you want? Let's make it clear to each other." "Dad, are you trying to scare me?" Sin Suyun tilted her head and looked at Mu Chi-Chi. She walked up to her. "The Shin family has been in a lot of trouble recently because of this bastard. Who is to blame for what happened to the Shin family? You have a share in it too." Grandpa Shin shouted angrily, "If you want to stay in this house, then stay. If you don't want to stay, then get out. Let me be frank with you today. If you do something like this again in the future and cause trouble outside, then get out of the Shin family immediately." I'm not joking with you. I know what you're thinking. Let me tell you, Sin Suyun. If you continue to go against me, you'll get nothing in the end. Sin Suyun tried hard to hold back her tears. But she could not say anything. It was because she knew that if she spoke now, it would only benefit second brother's family and that bastard. She would not admit defeat. Although she could not say anything, she could still look at Mu Chi-Chi with hatred. Huang Yu saw the scary look in her eyes. So she dragged Mu Chi-Chi away. "Xiao-Chi, ignore her. Go back and rest. I'll send you home." "It's okay, second aunt. I can go back by myself." Mu Chi-Chi shook her head. But before that, Mu Chi-Chi still had something to say to Sin Suyun. "Third aunt, since you've said so much today, I'll say something too. I can tolerate you, but it doesn't mean that I'm afraid of you. I've dealt with all kinds of bitches before. Why should I be afraid of you? What happened today is the last time. If something like this happens again in the future, I won't need Grandpa to say anything. I'll make you suffer. Based on what you said, I'm just a bastard. Since I have nothing, I'm not afraid of going against you. I can lose everything. But what about you?" Sin Suyun smirked. She looked at Mu Chi-Chi mockingly. Obviously it was a provocation. Let's wait and see. Mu Chi-Chi did not stay in the Shin family for long. After she informed Grandpa Shin, Huang Yu sent her to the door. But before she left, Mu Chi-Chi asked Huang Yu, "Second aunt, did third aunt go to the hospital recently? Or does she have a medical background?" "How do you know?" "Her big brother is a famous surgeon. So, it's easy for her to get the medicine." "So, do you still suspect that it's third aunt and Shin Ruoi who did it?" Huang Yu asked. "Second aunt, I hope that you can keep an eye on this matter. If it's really the mother and daughter, I'll make them pay for it." "Don't worry." Huang Yu nodded. "Go back and rest early." "Thank you, second aunt." Mu Chi-Chi turned around and left the Shin family. Third aunt and her family were crying in the room. Especially Sin Suyun. She was so furious that she almost fainted this time. Not only her, but Shin Ruoi also realized that what her mother said made sense. Mu Chi-Chi's status in the Shin family was seriously threatened by her. As long as Mu Chi-Chi was around, no one would see Shin Ruoi. She was obviously more outstanding than Mu Chi-Chi. She could not spoil Mu Chi-Chi like this in the future. After the chaos of the day, Mu Chi-Chi threw herself into Xing Zhao's arms when they reached home. Sheng Xiao put down the documents and hugged Mu Chi-Chi. He kissed and comforted her. Chapter 213. Xing Xiao answered softly. "Your mother is such a good person. But I lied to her. I feel so sorry." Mu Chi-Chi buried her head in Xing Zhao's arms and said, "I like her very much, just like how I like you." Sheng Xiao hugged Mu Chi-Chi tightly when he heard that. He said gently, "Do you think she has never been through a lot? When the Sheng family was being threatened, she even raised a knife to negotiate with them. Do you think she will still be afraid of you?" At that, Mu Chi-Chi poked her head out of his arms. "Your mother has such a tough side to her? I will tell you about it later." Xing Xiao kissed the top of her head and patted her butt. "Let's go and take a bath." Mu Chi-Chi stood up from his arms. Then she turned around and asked, "Aren't you coming with me?" Xing Zhao's eyes brightened. He put down the documents in his hands and stood up. Then he hugged Mu Chi-Chi horizontally. Since the little one had invited him so warmly, he would certainly not reject her. Then the two of them put on a show in the bathroom. After they were done, they lay in the bathtub. Mu Chi-Chi leaned on Xing Zhao's chest and laughed. "What are you laughing at?" "I'm laughing at my cousin, Shin Ruoi." She dressed up like a celebrity tonight. I know she wants to show off to your mother, but my mother will not even look at her. Xing Xiao half closed his eyes. He looked sexy and lazy. So, I told you not to worry. Mu Qiqi hugged Xing Xiao tightly, as if afraid that such happiness would disappear. It was precisely because Xing Xiao's mother was a good person that she felt even more guilty. And the more guilty she felt, the more she cherished her happiness. Xing Xiao felt that Mu Qiqi was hugging him harder. He guessed that she must be thinking about her mother again. If you keep thinking about it, I will have to do it myself. Mu Qiqi shook her head when she heard that. No, I'm tired. If you really want to know how my family will react when they know about our relationship, you can find someone to do the experiment. Who? Your father. As Xing Xiao spoke, he took out a towel and carried Mu Qiqi out of the bathtub. The weather was getting colder. He did not want his little one to catch a cold. But what if Dad tells Grandpa? Do you think someone as smart as your father would do such a stupid thing? Mu Qiqi shook her head. If I were 20 instead of 18, I might tell Dad that I'm in love with you and we're living together. But I'm too young and I don't have enough bargaining chips. Since it's useless to talk about these things, why are you still thinking so much? Aren't you afraid of exhausting yourself to death? Xing Xiao hooked her chin and kissed her gently. What should I do, little one? Although you're very tired, I still want you. Looking at Mu Qiqi's reaction, Xing Xiao suddenly regretted arranging this meeting to let Mu Qiqi know what kind of person her mother was. The burden on the little thing's mind was already very heavy, and now with the addition of guilt, he was afraid that he would soon be unable to straighten his back. He was not afraid that the little one would give up, but he felt sorry for the shackles that the little one had to carry. So, the first thing he needed to do now was to get rid of Shenrui. So the next morning Xing Xiao called Jing Yun. Invite Shenrui to work in Huangyao. She doesn't care about the position or the job. But, let her be the center of gossip, and she won't be able to get in touch with me. Young master, this is, make her completely give up on me. Always arrange some good scenes for her, so that she will be completely disillusioned with me. I understand. Jing Yun nodded. In other words, he wanted to ruin the image of the devil Xing Xiao in Shenrui's heart. That's easy. Please wait for my good news, young master. Go and hint to Mom so that no one in Huangyao will trouble you when you're working. Jing Yun received the order and went to look for Mama Sheng. He told her that Xing Xiao had asked her to arrange an acquaintance to work in Huangyao, but it would not take long. Mama Sheng frowned and asked Jing Yun for the reason. Sure enough, Jing Yun hinted to her. Madam, when you went to the Shen family yesterday, did you notice anything unusual besides Miss Qiqi? For example, someone is trying to please you or something like that. Are you talking about Roy? Mama Sheng did not continue, but Jing Yun took over the conversation. Although I'm not sure, young master does not want to cause any trouble. So, I have to deal with it immediately. Okay. Mama Sheng nodded. Just do it. I'll inform the department. But don't let it affect Huangyao too much. Don't worry, madam. I know what to do. Xing Zhao's purpose was to solve this problem. But Shenrui did not know that she was in someone else's game. She was waiting for Jing Yun to invite her. Then she would be so happy that she would go crazy. Of course, Xing Xiao would report it to Mu Qiqi in advance. Before Mu Qiqi went to school, he hugged her from behind and said, Shenrui, I've arranged for her to work in Huangyao. Mu Qiqi was puzzled. Don't worry. She won't have any chance to get close to me. But she will know a lot of gossip about me. Soon she will hate me. She might even be afraid of me. Mu Qiqi understood what Xing Xiao meant. She nodded. Then, don't be too cruel. I can imagine how Shenrui will be dancing in joy. I just want to tell you in advance. Don't mess with me because of this. Mess with me? Mu Qiqi wiped her face and pretended to be ignorant. Xiao Xiao, you are the smartest man in the world. She was good at making people fall for her. She was the one who made him fall for her. In fact, Jing Yun was a man of action. He got the order from Xing Xiao in the morning. He went to the Shen family in the afternoon and invited Shenrui to work for him. Of course, Shenrui's major was useless in Huangyao. So, Jing Yun racked his brains and thought of many ways to find a department that was suitable for Shenrui. When Shenrui knew about it, she was really excited, like what Mu Qiqi said. She did not expect that happiness would come so soon. Chapter 214. Shenrui was very excited. But Sun Suyun did not know why her daughter was so excited. The Sheng family is not inviting you to be the CEO. You're just a director. Why are you so happy? My daughter. Mom, I am still young. I don't have much working experience. It is good enough that the Sheng family is willing to give me this opportunity. Shen Ruoyi did not want her mother to disturb her. Even if she could not see Xing Xiao every day, it was better than getting close to Mu Qiqi. You are the young lady of the Shen family. Why do you always belittle yourself? You should learn from Mu Qiqi. She is the best when it comes to overestimating herself. Shen Ruoyi did not want to listen to her mother's nagging anymore. So she pushed Sun Suyun out of the room. Mom, I want to take a nap. You should go out now. Why does this child always flatter the Sheng family? Sun Suyun was puzzled. So, she recalled Shen Ruoyi's behavior from the moment she came back to the family. She tried to get close to Mu Qiqi and flattered her. Moreover, she flattered Mama Sheng last night. She said that she was not interested in the young master of the Lin family. Could it be that her daughter liked the Sheng family? Sun Suyun covered her mouth when she thought of the possibility. Then she pushed the door open again. Mom, what's wrong? Sun Suyun closed the door carefully. She made sure that there was no one around. Then she asked Shen Ruoyi, Daughter, tell me honestly, do you like Xing Xiao? Shen Ruoyi did not expect that her mother could guess her thoughts. She tried to evade the question. What are you talking about? You're my daughter. Don't I know you well? How could you be interested in such a job normally? But you agreed immediately when Huang Yao asked you to go there. Moreover, you dressed up like a celebrity last night. Were you trying to flatter? More importantly, I asked you before. Why do you like Mu Qiqi? Why did you buy her a present? Your target is Xing Xiao, isn't it? Shen Ruoyi knew that she could not hide it anymore. She pulled Sun Suyun and said, Mom, lower your voice. You are too bold. How dare you dream of becoming the young mistress of the Sheng family? Moreover, it is Xing Xiao. Don't you know how scary Xing Xiao is? Most importantly, you can't let your grandfather know about this. Otherwise, he'll kick you out of the house. Mother, if I marry into the Sheng family, do you still need these things from the Shen family? There's no need to care about him at all. So, Mom, help me. Help me get him. But that's Xing Xiao. Do you think any random woman can move his heart? Anyway, I can't help you with anything. Sun Suyun was very sure about this. If she was not careful, she would be in trouble. Okay. Actually, I didn't expect you to really help me, but... Mom, please don't interfere with me. Don't stop me from finding my own happiness. Sun Suyun sighed helplessly when she saw the determination in Shen Ruoyi's eyes. She could have fallen in love with anyone else. Why did she fall in love with Xing Xiao? Did Shen Ruoyi not know that he was a devil? He's really hopeless. After that, Sun Suyun left her daughter's room. It was because she really could not help Xing Xiao. Shen Ruoyi could still get close to Xing Xiao through work. But what about Sun Suyun? He could only go through Mu Qiqi, but their relationship now was clearly as incompatible as fire and water. Jing Yun had arranged everything perfectly. That night, Shen Ruoyi discussed with Grandpa Shen that she was going to work in Huang Yao. Grandpa Shen felt strange. Why did Jing Yun want to look for Shen Ruoyi and not someone else? But he did not object when he saw that Shen Ruoyi was in high spirits. Go ahead. It's good to train more. But Grandpa Shen called Jing Yun behind their backs. What's your young master doing? Why did he ask Ruoyi to work in Huang Yao? Old Shen, Miss Ruoyi is a talented person. Moreover, it's Madame's suggestion. It has nothing to do with young master. Jing Yun knew how to push the blame to others. So, he managed to get away with it. Grandpa Shen thought that perhaps Mama Xing wanted to comfort third brother and his family so that Shen Ruoyi would not be so sad. Moreover, Shen Ruoyi would not be at home often. It would reduce the conflicts in the family. Grandpa Shen did not think about it at all. He even told Shen Jianchuan about it when he went to see him in the afternoon. Shen Jianchuan was not as inflexible as Grandpa Shen. From the situation he could feel that Shen Ruoyi liked Xing Xiao. As for Xing Xiao's action, he did not understand it. If Xing Xiao did not like Shen Ruoyi, why did he ask her to work in Huang Yao? But if Xing Xiao liked Shen Ruoyi, what would happen to Mu Qiqi? Young people nowadays are getting more and more incomprehensible. Since you can't understand it, let the young people do it. Shen Jianchuan did not tell Grandpa Shen anything. Don't ask him how he knew about it. Sometimes, the relationship between people did not need to be told. He just wanted to recover as soon as possible and go back to protect his daughter. He did not care if it was Sun Suyun or Shen Ruoyi. As long as they bullied his daughter, they must get lost. But although he could speak now, he was still a disabled person. There was not much he could do to help his daughter. Especially Mu Qiqi did not tell him anything. At night, Mu Qiqi went to the hospital to visit Shen Jianchuan. Seeing that her father was resting, she wanted to leave. But Xin Jianchuan opened his eyes and looked at his daughter. Chichi, we have known each other for a long time. But we have not talked to each other properly. Is there something that you should tell me? Is it about the Xin family? If you want to tell me about the meeting with the beautiful aunt 2 days ago. Do you know that Xin Ruoyi is going to work in Huangyao? Xin Jianchuan went straight to the point. Mu Chichi nodded. Do I have to tell you this? I know. What's wrong? But my daughter, why are you not sad? Xin Jianchuan looked at Mu Chichi and smiled gently. Dad, isn't Xing Xiao your boyfriend? Xin Jianchuan asked tentatively. Mu Chichi's eyes widened immediately. Xing Xiao. Actually, it's easy to guess. You have Xing Xiao's name tattooed on your ear. And you said that you have a boyfriend. But your boyfriend never showed up. Moreover, which boyfriend would tolerate his girlfriend having someone else's name tattooed on her body? Unless the owner of the name is your boyfriend. Actually, there are too many clues. Why don't you go back to the Xin family? Why do you insist on staying outside? Why do you prefer to rely on Xing Xiao instead of trusting your family? Although Xing Xiao often uses Jing Yun as a shield, I've heard from your grandfather that he would defend you in all sorts of situations. Chapter 215. Xin Jianchuan was really smart. He was good at observing people's expressions and deducing their thoughts. But his prediction was so accurate. Mu Chichi lowered her head after listening to Xin Jianchuan. She asked, Father? Do you know? When I was the most helpless in my life, it was Xiao Xiao who pulled me back, gave me a new home and taught me how to fight back against the world bit by bit. So I can't help liking such a person. I used to think that I was biting the hand that fed me. I fell in love with my savior. I knew that there were many obstacles between us. I knew it. Do you think I didn't restrain myself? I've thought about it, but when I found out that Xiao Xiao knew everything and yet he still loved me so much, I couldn't help myself anymore. Mu Chichi could not help tearing up at that. It was only after that I found out about my birth and my identity. But Xiao Xiao and I are inseparable now. Xin Jianchuan wanted to wipe Mu Chichi's tears away. She was his beloved daughter. Silly girl, you can tell me if you feel uncomfortable. I know how it feels to grow old with someone. Are you afraid that I will interfere with you? I am afraid. Mu Chichi said honestly. After all, Xiao Xiao and I are in different generations. To your father, seniority is the most useless thing. As long as that brat treats you well, as long as he truly doesn't let go of my daughter's hand, even if I have to risk my life, I will make my daughter happy. Father? Mu Chichi threw herself into Xin Jianchuan's arms and cried. So tell me, what happened to Xin Ruoyi? Mu Chichi was done crying. She poked her head out of Xin Jianchuan's arms and said, it was Xiao Xiao's plan. He knew that Xin Ruoyi was interested in him. So he arranged Xin Ruoyi to work in Huangyao. Then he put on a show so that Xin Ruoyi would give up. Don't worry. Xin Ruoyi's department will never have the chance to see Xiao Xiao. If this bastard dares to hurt you, I will kill him. He won't. I owe him all this while. He loves me so much. But I can't give him anything. Silly girl, you can give him happiness. He is the crown prince of Huangyao. He has everything. But what he lacks is the happiness you can bring him. That night the father and daughter talked a lot. And Xin Jianchuan could really understand why Mu Chichi would have feelings for Xing Xiao. It was love at 18 years old. In the past he would not have believed it. But today, seeing his daughter so determined, maybe there would be a miracle? Of course, Xing Xiao was the one who made him look at him in a different light. A man who owned a diamond empire could have any woman he wanted. But he loved and cared for a little girl. Sometimes fate was a strange thing. Dad, father, I thank you for supporting me. You made me. Jiu, the father and daughter looked at each other and smiled. They were one step closer to each other. After the heavy topic was over, Xin Jianchuan told a few jokes to make Mu Chichi happy. In the future, his most important task was to protect his daughter's happiness. When they walked out of the hospital, Mu Chichi was a little dazed. She did not hear Xing Xiao honking the horn a few times. So, Xing Xiao got out of the car and dragged her into the black car. What are you daydreaming about? Dad has long guessed our relationship. Mu Chichi looked up at him and said, he didn't blame me. Instead, he encouraged me to pursue my own happiness. Your father is a person who is out of line, and he's so devoted to his daughter. It's not surprising that he would support you. Xing Xiao glanced at her, a hint of a smile flashing across his eyes. You don't seem surprised that he knows about this. He'll find out sooner or later. With that, Xing Xiao started the car and brought the little one home. After listening, Mu Chichi could not help but sigh. This was the world of smart people. Everything was understood without words. Shen Rui will report to Huang Yao tomorrow. Oh. Mu Qiqi did not say anything else. That's it? She's not going there to enjoy herself. Should I have a bigger reaction? Mu Qiqi asked Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao pulled her and chuckled. He should not have a bigger reaction. He might have gone overboard when he teased Shen Rui. He just wanted the little one to watch the fun. Shen Rui was excited for the whole night. Although Tsun Suyun thought that her daughter was digging her own grave. The next morning Shen Rui woke up early and tidied herself up. Then she reported to Huang Yao on time. At the same time, Shen Rui heard many people saying that they saw the crown prince. But no one knew where Xing Xiao was. Shen Rui would be excited when she heard Xing Xiao's name. So, even if she could not see him on the first day, she felt that it was worth it to come to Huang Yao. Xing Xiao entered the office from the elevator. He could not help but ask Jing Yun about Shen Rui. She has reported to the office. Now the personnel are showing her around. Xing Xiao's lips curled into a smile, and there was a hint of a teasing demon in his eyes. I can give her some big news today. Okay. I'll go and arrange it now. But Shen Rui would not know how she would feel when she found out that everything was fake in the future. The personnel manager accompanied Shen Rui around the office. After he received a call, he said to Shen Rui mysteriously, "Since you're a new colleague, I'll tell you something. The department you're working in is the most likely department for the Crown Prince. I heard that the Crown Prince likes the girls in your department the most." What do you mean? Didn't you say that the Crown Prince is not interested in women? He is not interested in women. But he is a pervert. Don't you know? He likes to play games. He always sends the girls to the hospital. Shen Rui did not believe it. It was definitely not Xing Xiao. She did not believe in the gossip in the company. But, in fact, the department had created such an atmosphere to welcome her. You still don't believe it? You'll know when you see it with your own eyes. Some girls even lost their fingers. When they came out of the Crown Prince's office, their hands were covered in blood. Shen Rui was not affected. She felt that those people were exaggerating. At least in her heart, Xing Xiao had always been so elegant and charming. Although the people said that he was a devil, she still wanted to conquer such a man. Because Xing Xiao was really outstanding. Chapter 216. She was a member of the Shen family. She was not afraid of those rumors. After Shen Rui started working in Huang Yao, Tsun Suyun started to think in a new direction. It was because she felt that her daughter was right. If Shen Rui really succeeded and got Xing Xiao's favor, she would become the young mistress of Huang Yao. By then, her daughter would have the final say on how many diamonds and jewelry she wanted. So, she felt that Shen Rui's idea might not be that crazy. But what could she do for Shen Rui? Although she was unwilling, she could only apologize to Mu Qiqi and admit that she was wrong if she really needed Mu Qiqi's help. After all, her daughter's future was more important. As for those bastards, she could tolerate them for the time being. But she did not know that Mu Qiqi could tolerate all the things that she did to Mu Qiqi in the past. But now, the mother and daughter actually wanted to hurt Xiao Xiao? That was her bottom line. She would not allow them to give in. 2 days later, Mu Qiqi went back to the Shen family for dinner. This time, when Tsun Suyun saw Mu Qiqi again, she did not look at her with hostility anymore. But she felt a little awkward. She had been tolerating it for the whole night. When the dinner was almost over, she could not help but say to Mu Qiqi, "Qiqi, do you know that Sister Roy is working in Huang Yao now?" "What? Are you trying to show off?" Mu Qiqi put down her chopsticks and asked Tsun Suyun. "I just want to say that if you meet Xing Xiao, please take care of your sister. I was wondering why her attitude changed so much today. Qiqi, it turns out that she has a favor to ask of you." Huang Yu could not help but cross her arms when she saw that. "Tsun Suyun, do you really think that everyone in the world is your mother? You can do whatever you want. Everyone has to bow down to you and your daughter. Qiqi, you don't have to care about her." Shen Rui was much more courageous. Because she believed that as long as she continued to work in Huang Yao, she did not need to flatter Mu Qiqi so much. "Mom, I don't need anyone's help for my own matters. Moreover, she's an outsider. How can she help us? Have you forgotten all the previous examples? When I came back, I brought her so many gifts. Did she accept my kindness?" Now that Tsun Suyun had restrained herself, Shen Rui was being mean again. Did this mother and daughter exchange souls? He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It was because Shen Rui knew that Mu Qiqi was useless now and she was blocking her way. So she did not give her any face. "But I can handle the matters in the company. But Mu Qiqi, Please call me sister the next time you see me. We can't forget the rules. After all, I'm the eldest sister of the Shin family. I'm done eating. Please enjoy your meal. Then Shinroi left the table and went to her room. Everyone please enjoy. Then Shinroi left the table and went to her room. Sin Suyun chased after him too. The rest of them were confused. Is there something wrong with this mother and daughter? Huang Yu kicked the ladder. But Mu Qiqi could understand what the mother and daughter were trying to do. Judging from Shinroi's attitude, did she really think that she could become a phoenix? She would not object if it was anyone else in the Xing family but not Xing Xiao. Qiqi, can you tell me why Xing Xiao wants Shinroi to work in Huangyao? It's nothing good. Second aunt, please keep it a secret. Mu Qiqi whispered to Huang Yu. Huang Yu nodded and laughed. Then I'll wait for the show. Now Shinroi is so arrogant. Does she really think that she is a part of the Xing family now? Mu Qiqi did not say anything. She just did not know how long Shinroi could stay in Huangyao. That night Mu Qiqi went home. She took a shower with Xing Xiao and was about to sleep. But Qianshan called her before she went to bed. She sounded excited. Qiqi, I have good news for you. I'm not going abroad anymore. I'm going to film. Film? Mu Qiqi never thought that Lu Qianshan would want to be a star. She felt that she was too far away from that circle. My father's friend runs a film company. He thinks that I look good. So he asked me to audition. Since you like it, I'll support you. But I'm worried that didn't those stars have their dark spots exposed before? Nowadays people often bullied each other on the internet. She did not want her best friend to get hurt. Don't worry. My agent will take care of it. Qianshan needed something else to divert her attention. Mu Qiqi understood the pain that Duan Xiao brought to her. Since she wanted to be a star, she should go. Remember to give me your autograph when you become famous. Of course. You're my best friend. Lu Qianshan was very excited. After the call with Mu Qiqi, she received a call from her agent. It was so late. Her agent was really responsible. Her agent gave her a lot of information. Although it was just a supporting role, she needed to understand the whole story as soon as possible. Moreover, she sent her a book list. These are all the works of this author. Take a look when you are free. Lu Qianshan looked at the titles of the books. She almost rolled her eyes. Men Never Grow Old, Casanova. She flipped through them casually. They were all about flirting with girls. Were they for others to read? Then Lu Qianshan looked at the name of his family. Lin Muhan. What kind of rubbish man was that? Did he treat women as toys? Could the script he wrote be made into a TV series? Lu Qianshan was very disappointed with men because of Duan Xiao, and now she still had to read Lin Muan's rubbish literature? No wonder there was an in it. She must not see this man. Otherwise she would kick his balls. She did not know that this was the beginning of an ill-fated relationship. She would never remember that the two of them had met once. It was not long ago when they went shopping together in the afternoon. On the other side, Xing Xiao saw Mu Qiqi staring at her phone. He asked her, "Is Lu Qianshan going to shoot a movie?" "Yes. That's why I am worried about her. What if her past is dug out? Won't she be hurt a second time?" Mu Qiqi replied in Xing Xiao's arms. "Why can't she do something else? I don't know what Qianshan is thinking. This is the era of making stars. There is nothing that cannot be done. You are thinking too much. Moreover, the Lu family is rich. You don't need to worry about her. Qianshan is my only friend. I'm sad to see her hurt. What is the name of the movie she is going to shoot? I will ask Jing Yun to keep an eye on it. It is called Reuniting the Mirror, or something. I will check it online." After that, Mu Qiqi took out her phone. After a while, she suddenly sat up on the bed and looked at Xing Xiao. "What is it?" "The scriptwriter and author is Lin Muan." Mu Qiqi looked at Xing Xiao with a strange expression. Chapter 217. In fact, Lin Muan was a man with a very high EQ. Because of his good looks, he had a good relationship with women since he was young. That was why he was proud of himself in love. As long as he made a move, there was no woman he could not get. Of course, he had his own bottom line when he was in love. For example, he would not touch his brother's women, mistresses, or even married men. It was also because of his rich emotional experience that he had written many best-selling books. Currently, he was the most popular male author in the poll. In fact, he did not know that Lu Qianshan would be in the cast before he got the list. But when he saw the recommendation from the film company, he was stunned. Was she a sponsor? I don't think so. Lin Muan refused. But, Editor Lin, she is recommended by an investor. It's hard for us. I said no. Although he liked dating, he was clear about his work and private life. Lu Qianqian was a rich young lady. How dare she audition without any foundation? Who gave her the courage? Then you should talk to the investor. Lu Qianqian was furious when she received the news that she was rejected the next day. The scriptwriter did not want her. Other scriptwriters might not have the right to speak when it came to casting. But now Lin Mu and was popular and his words carried weight. Moreover, it was an adaptation of his novel. The investor had to give him some face. So Lu Qianqian was very angry. After asking around, she got Lin Mu and's phone number from Papa Lu. Holding the phone, Lu Qianqian dialed the annoying number. I'm Lu Qianqian. What can I do for you, Miss Lu? I know you changed my role. I'm not happy with you and want to beat you up. Lu Qianqian said as if venting. You scumbag who writes rubbish literature. You're so shrewd. Didn't you learn your lesson after being hurt so badly? Lin Mu and was smiling from beginning to end. But every word he said made Lu Qianqian very angry. I didn't learn it. That's why I want to act in a movie to divert my attention. I'm really interested in acting, Lin Mu smiled and asked her. There's a role of a palace maid. Do you want it? And there's a spy movie that needs a lot of corpses. I want to be your mother. Will you let me? Lu Qianqian asked through gritted teeth. TSK. If you really want to divert your attention, I have a good job for you. Come and be my assistant. I promise you'll forget everything. Lin Mu, and just you wait. After that, Lu Qianqian hung up the phone. The scum. She must take revenge on him. Lin Mu, and on the other hand, was laughing from the start to the end. This girl was actually quite interesting. If anyone else was replaced, the first thing they would do would be to call him, either to fight for it or to threaten him. But this girl didn't pester him. She just called him and scolded him to vent her anger. After hanging up, Lu Qianqian recalled that Mu Qiqi mentioned that she went to the Lin family's birthday banquet. Moreover, when she went shopping with Mu Qiqi, she seemed to have seen a man at the entrance of the hotel. At that time, she thought that Mu Qiqi had abandoned the crown prince. But Mu Qiqi told her that it was the young master of the Lin family. Damn, enemies are bound to meet. Thinking of that face, Lu Qianqian immediately became excited and called Mu Qiqi. Qiqi, do you know Lin Muan? Mu Qiqi had just finished her class. When she heard Lu Qianqian mention this name, she knew that the two of them must have known each other's existence. Why did you suddenly mention him? Let me tell you, we are enemies. I must destroy him because he destroyed my beautiful stardom. Can you help me ask him out? Qianqian, are you sure? Do you know that Lin Mu and is a Casanova? What? You're afraid that I'll like him? Even if I fell in love with a pig, I would never fall in love with him. He's trash. Qianqian, he and I don't have any grudges. Isn't it a little strange for me to ask him out to vent your anger? Just tell him honestly that I want to see him. It's up to him whether he wants to come or not. She knew Qianqian's temper very well. The firecracker would explode sooner or later. Qianqian had only been a coward when it came to Duan Xiao. After some thought, Mu Qiqi agreed. All right. I'll let you know later. If Xiao Xiao knew that she was going to meet a man alone, wouldn't he smack her but until it was swollen? So Mu Qiqi just threw the matter to the man. Anyway, if it was Xing Xiao who asked her out, Lin Mu, and could not refuse. Lin Mu, and received a call from Huang Yao in the afternoon. Jing Yun told him everything in a few words. Lin Mu, and did not refuse. Their conversation only lasted for 2 minutes. Then Mu Qiqi replied to Lu Qianqian and asked her to meet him at the Imperial Hotel at noon tomorrow. In fact, Lin Mu, and did not need to care about Lu Qianqian's unreasonable request. Even Jing Yun said that he was bored. But Lin Mu, and felt that Lu Qianqian was a very interesting girl. At least, he did not reject her in terms of feelings. Since Lu Qianqian wanted to go, Mu Qiqi certainly had to accompany her. And since Mu Qiqi was there, Xing Xiao naturally had to show up. His little one was going to meet another man. How could he not follow her? He hated the kind of person who pretended to be generous and told his or her partner that he or she believed her. But in fact, it meant that he or she doubted her. If she minded, he could just accompany her. Why be so pretentious? After a few days of getting used to the new department, Shen Rui had a thorough understanding of the situation in the new department. It was like a center of gossip. There were many rumors about Xing Xiao. Some of them were true and some were false. She did not know whether she should believe them or not. It was because she could not verify those rumors. But the only thing she knew was that she knew where Xing Xiao's office was in Huangyao. She wanted to go in and see if Xing Xiao was involved in those scandals. Shen Rui wanted to take action when she had this idea in her mind. Especially in the past 2 days, the idea was very strong. First of all, she had to choose a time when she would not meet Xing Xiao. Secondly, she had to get the access card to enter the office. That was the state of being obsessed with someone. She wanted to know more about him. Even if she could only get a little closer to him, she would be very happy. Mama Sheng had been observing Shen Rui these days. And Jing Yun was right. Shen Rui had been asking about Xing Xiao everywhere. It was difficult for her not to attract attention. But if Xiao Er liked her, he would not think of such a way to deal with her. She was the junior of the Shen family after all. She had to be careful when dealing with her. Chapter 218. On the other hand, Shen Rui's every move was under Jing Yun's surveillance. He knew very well who Shen Rui was in contact with in Huang Yao and what she wanted. He knew that Shen Rui was messing with Xing Zhao's office. Getting close to the person you like, isn't it to confirm whether he has a woman or not? They might be able to find some clues in Xing Zhao's office. If that was the case, he would definitely arrange a good show for Shen Rui. He purposely helped Shen Rui find the cleaner who was responsible for cleaning the office area. Then he successfully got the access card. It was also an opportunity for Shen Rui to enter Xing Zhao's office. It was already 10 o'clock at night. All the employees of Huang Yao had left work, but Shen Rui was still working hard. When she was sure that there was no one around, she disguised herself as a cleaner and went to the high-rise area openly. Of course, the important offices were all locked, but Xing Zhao's office was not. Because he never put his important things in his office and he rarely used them. When Shen Rui entered the modern space, she could feel Xing Zhao's aura everywhere. She sat on the sofa that Xing Xiao had sat on and picked up the cup that Xing Xiao had used. Her heart was filled with excitement. But at that moment, Shen Rui heard a scream. It was a woman's voice. She was so scared that her face turned pale. Then Shen Rui noticed that it was the private lounge in Xing Zhao's office. She could hear a woman's voice and a man's devilish teasing. Shen Rui was so nervous that she had goosebumps all over her body. She immediately left Xing Zhao's office. She did not care about her image at all. She ran as fast as she could. In fact, Jing Yun was watching a thriller in the lounge and purposely turned the volume to the loudest. He thought that Shen Rui was brave. In the end, she was terrified. Shen Rui went home in a daze. She locked herself in her room after she got home. She could not believe that she saw Xing Xiao fooling around with a woman. Since Suyun noticed that her daughter did not even have an appetite for dinner. So she asked her what happened. Shen Rui shook her head. She did not say anything. After all, she was no longer sure what attitude she had towards him. The next day, as expected, there was a new scandal in the office. I heard that after you got off work last night, an ambulance came again. That's right. I heard that this time the girl's body was covered in many bloody wounds. It scared me to death. I've always heard that the Crown Prince plays big, but I didn't expect him to treat people like that. Shen Rui's facial expression changed when she heard that. It was because she suddenly remembered what happened yesterday. The woman's scream was still echoing in her head. Director Shen, why do you look so pale? Shen Rui shook her head when she heard her colleague's question. Maybe he did not rest well? Was Xing Xiao really a demon who ate people without spitting out the bones? If that was the case, should she consider giving up? If she insisted on marrying into the Sheng family, would Xing Xiao treat her like this in the future? Even if Xing Xiao could restrain himself from doing anything to her, could she tolerate him toying with other girls? Shen Rui was in a dilemma. But she was not willing to give up. So, she decided to go and see what was going on at night. Mama Xing knew that Xing Xiao was trying to ruin his image. So, she said to him before the meeting, if you really don't want to get into trouble, I can help you to get rid of her. Mom, if you really want to make a person give up, you must make her feel fear. How long do you think she can hold on? Xing Xiao answered Mama Sheng while playing with the cufflink in his hand. Since he moved out of the Sheng family, this cufflink had become the most valuable thing in Xing Zhao's office. Who the hell gave this to me? You treasure it so much. If you give me such a simple thing, I will treasure it too. Xing Xiao smiled and put the cufflink back into the drawer. Don't drag this matter any longer. Otherwise it will backfire. I know what I'm doing. Of course it was Xiao Qi's gift. That was why he treasured it so much. Mama Sheng looked at her son helplessly. Suddenly she felt sorry for Shen Rui. She was such a good girl. Why did she have to fall in love with him? Now even if she was not scared to death, she would be half dead. When Mu Qiqi was at home, she did not ask about Shen Rui. It was because she was too lazy to do it. As long as they were at home, she and Xing Xiao would stick together no matter what they did. Moreover, Xing Xiao was an energetic guy. He would put on a show in every corner of the house from time to time. She was already very tired from the classes in the morning. She could not sleep well at night. It was strange that she had the energy to care about Shen Ruoyi. Since Xing Xiao said that he would take care of it, she would let him do it. At noon, Mu Qiqi invited Lu Qianqian and Lin Mu, and for lunch. From the moment they met, Lu Qianqian's eyes were filled with sparks. She wanted to swallow Lin Mu. On the other hand, Lin Mu was smiling. He sat opposite Lu Qianqian elegantly. Xing Xiao was the last to arrive. He sat beside Mu Qiqi and put his arm on her chair. He was very possessive. The two of them won't fight, will they? Lu Qianqian is no match for him. Xing Xiao answered his little one in a low voice. Lin Mu was a third-generation heir. It was not difficult for him to capture him. Miss Lu, am I so beautiful that you can't take your eyes off me? Lin Mu did not stay idle. He teased Lu Qianqian. Lu Qianqian slammed the table and stood up. She pointed at Lin Mu. How did I offend you? Why do you want to replace me? You don't know how to act. But you are just a pretty face now. That was what annoyed Lu Qianqian the most. He was just fooling around with her. Because she is talented in acting. I am talented in beating people up. Besides, the entertainment industry isn't a place that just anyone can enter. The price of becoming famous is losing a lot of things. Your privacy, your personal space, and most importantly, your past will be dug up. Do you think that your past will be accepted by everyone? It is fine if you are 26 or 36 years old. But you are only 18. You were abandoned when you were only 18. This circle is not suitable for you. After hearing Lin Mu's words, Lu Qianqian sat down. But her eyes were red. Is it my fault? You are not wrong. But that is not the mainstream value. You can do anything. But don't become a celebrity. You are cute and beautiful. Mu Qiqi suddenly understood what Lin Mu meant. Actually, this man had the same thought as her. He did not want Qianqian to be hurt. Chapter 219. Don't think too highly of yourself. Lu Qianqian had actually accepted his kindness. But she still felt embarrassed. I am the eldest daughter of the Lu family. How could I be replaced by you just like that? That's a disgrace. Look at you. You are just a little pepper. You don't appreciate others' kindness, do you? Who asked you to be a busybody? By the way, what kind of rubbish literature are you writing? Do you think advocating men is in line with the mainstream values? Seeing that Lu Qianqian had done her homework well, Lin Mu bent over and rested his head on the table. Then he hooked his finger at Lu Qianqian. Why don't you come to my house one day? Let me tell you what values I'm advocating. This man was really flirtatious. But Lu Qianqian was not someone to be trifled with. She grabbed Lin Mu's finger and twisted it. I really want to make an appointment with you to have a hand-to-hand fight at the martial arts center. That's settled then. Give me your number. I'm free anytime. Who's afraid of you? Lu Qianqian immediately took out her phone. Lin Mu calmly told her his number. Then they exchanged each other's number. And Mu Qiqi just leaned on the table and watched the show from the beginning. Xing Xiao even pulled her up. Seems like I don't need your help next time. Mu Qiqi held back her laughter and let them fight in the private room. Why do I feel like there are pink bubbles above their heads? It's none of your business, Xing Xiao said proudly. Then he led her away. Jing Yun will come and send you to Xingting University later. I still have something to do. Speaking of Jing Yun, Mu Qiqi could not help but ask, Special Assistant Jing, do you have a girlfriend? Xing Xiao shook his head. He's just a piece of rotten wood. He doesn't seem to be interested in this kind of thing. As if, believe it or not, although Jing Yun looks like an idiot when it comes to relationships, people like him are usually very affectionate. Maybe he has someone in his heart. Xing Xiao tilted his head and looked at his little one. Jing Yun is under your control now? How can you be jealous? Mu was not as bad as she thought. Although he had a lot of girlfriends, it did not stop him from being a good person. Mu was not as bad as she thought he was. Although he had a lot of girlfriends, it did not stop him from being a good person. Moreover, Qianqian did not look like someone who would suffer a loss. After the incident with Duan Xiao, she was very cautious when it came to relationships. Therefore there was no need to worry at all. In short, when Lu Qianqian and Lin Mu left the hotel that afternoon, they glared at each other. Especially Lu Qianqian. She could not wait to strangle the man who ruined her career. Although she knew that her past would be very ugly if it was dug out, it would be very embarrassing. However, a playboy like Lin Mu, and was incomparably infuriating. At around 9 o'clock that night, Mu Qiqi received a call from Huang Yu in the small villa. Huang Yu rarely took the initiative to call her, and at this time, Mu Qiqi immediately picked up because she guessed that something must have happened at home. Qiqi, if you are free now, please go home. I'm afraid that Grandpa Shin's body can't take it anymore. What's wrong? Mu Qiqi asked quickly. It's all because of third brother and his family. Shin Ruoyi has caused a big trouble. Anyway, please come home quickly. At this moment, Su Zipei, her husband, and Xing Xiao were beside Mu Qiqi. They heard Huang Yu's voice from the phone. So, Su Zipei said to Mu Qiqi, "Go. Let's go." Xing Xiao grabbed Mu Qiqi's collar and brought her back to the Shin family. You know something, don't you? On the way back, Mu Qiqi asked Xing Xiao. Since it was about Shin Ruoyi and it was a big matter, it should be the truth. Shin Ruoyi's secret could not be hidden anymore. You can see what Grandpa Shin thinks about this matter now. In the dark, Xing Xiao helped Mu Qiqi unfasten the seatbelt and reminded her. Mu Qiqi was stunned. She did not know what to do. But after a while, she pushed the door open and went to the living room of the Shin family. At this moment, Mama Sheng was still in the Shin family. Shin Ruoyi was kneeling in the living room. Grandpa Shin was holding a wooden stick in his hand. It seemed that he was very angry. Qiqi. Huang Yu pulled her to her side quickly. She was afraid that she would be hurt. What's wrong? It turns out that this girl has an ulterior motive for working in Huang Yao. She has sneaked into Xing Zhao's office several times. Didn't she run into him tonight? She was caught red-handed. So, when your beautiful aunt sent her back, Grandpa Shin interrogated her carefully. Then he found out that she has a crush on Xing Xiao. He is her uncle. Xiao Qin, it's my fault for not teaching her well. That's why such a scandal happened. I'm so sorry. Grandpa Shin, I don't want to talk about anything else. I just hope that Ruoyi can take out Xing Zhao's cufflinks. They are his most precious thing. Mama Sheng looked at Shin Ruoyi, who was kneeling on the floor. I saw it with my own eyes. She put it in her coat pocket. Huang Yu, go and take it out. Grandpa Shin ordered. But Sin Suyun was protecting Shin Ruoyi. She did not let anyone touch it. Don't come near me. It's just a broken thing. It's not worth it for you to force it. Then, Sin Suyun took out the cufflinks from Shin Ruoyi's coat pocket. But she threw it into the fish tank. Mu Qiqi looked at it and realized that it was the gift she gave to Xiao Xiao. So, she did not care about anything else. She reached out her hand to grab it. But Huang Yu stopped her. Silly girl, there's electricity here. Let me help you. Mu Qiqi got the cufflinks with Huang Yu's help. Then she gave it to Mama Sheng. Here you go. Mama Sheng took back the cufflinks and looked at Mu Qiqi. Good girl. Xiao Qin, I'm really sorry. I've caused you trouble. Grandpa Shin, since it's a family matter of the Shin family, I should go back now. Ruoyi is still young. I hope that she can learn her lesson. She should think carefully before she does anything. Then Mama Sheng hugged Mu Qiqi. I'll come and see you some other day. Mu Qiqi nodded. Then she sent a message to Xing Xiao. Beautiful auntie, I'll definitely come and see you. Xing Xiao did not ask why. He quickly went back to the villa that Mama Sheng prepared for him. Now it was time to close the door. Grandpa Shin was mad. He hit Shin Ruoyi with a stick without any mercy. Where's the sense of honor that I've taught you since you were young? Do you like your uncle? Chapter 220. Sin Suyun went crazy too. She went forward and hugged Shin Ruoyi. She refuted Grandpa Shin. What's wrong with liking Xing Xiao? Is he an emperor or something? Why can't you like him? So what if he's her uncle? They are not related by blood. Moreover, Xing Xiao is only 5 years older than Ruoyi. Why can't I like him? It's because of a mother like you that she can raise such a daughter. Look at what she did. She went to work in someone else's company. But she sneaked into someone else's office and stole their things. Shin Ruoyi, tell me who taught you to do that? That's right. Shin Ruoyi looked at the floor. She looked embarrassed. Actually, she was speechless. Because she did not expect that Mama Sheng would enter the office and see her looking through Xing Zhao's things. She didn't know what had bewitched her to do such a shameful thing. She still hadn't recovered from it. Say something. Grandpa, I'm sorry. I've embarrassed you. Are you trying to embarrass me? You're embarrassing yourself. You're the young lady of the Shin family. What will you do if others know that you've done such a shameless thing? Do you still want your reputation? I've given up. I don't want to think about anything anymore. What else do you want? Can't you see the Sheng family's attitude? They don't like you at all. Grandpa Shen was furious. He hit Shinruoi a few more times. Then he threw away the things in his hand. From today onwards, you should stay at home and reflect on yourself. You're not allowed to go out for a month. You can tell me when you've made up your mind. Shinruoi was lying in Sun Suyun's arms. She did not have the strength to talk anymore. There was blood at the corner of her mouth. Sun Suyun was so scared that she screamed. Roy, my daughter. Roy, what should I do if anything happens to you? Send her to the hospital now. Huang Yu urged her. Old woman, you're so cruel. When Mu Qiqi saw this scene, she seemed to see herself in the future. Perhaps she was even worse than Shinruoi because she had lived with Xiao Xiao for a long time. Moreover, she could feel that her grandpa loved her more. With that in mind, Mu Qiqi walked to the old man and stroked his back to comfort him. Grandpa, your health is important. What kind of nonsense is this? Grandpa Sheng was utterly disappointed. Qiqi, do the youngsters these days really not care about seniority? However, these rules have been established for so many years. Are we going to throw them away just like that? Grandpa, forget it. I'm tired. I'm going back to my room. You can go home now. Grandpa Shen was sad and angry. It was because he had praised Shinruoi for being sensible 2 days ago. But now, the granddaughter he was so proud of had done such a thing. How could he not be angry? Mu Qiqi did not dare to follow. Her feet seemed to be fixed in place and she could not move at all. Sun Suyun quickly sent Shinruoi to the hospital. At that moment, the Shen family was as empty as Mu Qiqi's heart. After leaving the Shen family, Mu Qiqi took a taxi back to Sheng Zhao's house. But Sheng Xiao was still dealing with Mama Sheng. It seemed that it was too difficult for Grandpa Sheng to accept this. It was just as Mu Qiqi expected. Mama Sheng did use the cufflinks as an excuse to see her son. She thought that Sheng Xiao was not at home again. But when she entered the house, she found out that Sheng Xiao had just taken a shower and was about to rest. Son, look at what I've given you. Sheng Xiao took a look and found out that it was the cufflinks that Xiao Qier gave him. Shinruoi almost took it away today. I saw it. So, I went to the Shin family and got it back for you. Sheng Xiao took the cufflinks from Mama Sheng and raised them up high. He looked at them under the light. Then he said to Mama Sheng, Mom, do you hate Shinruoi? You hate her. That's why I don't like her. Mama Sheng explained. Actually, she hates you the most when she takes your things. I know that you treasure them very much. So I'm angry. Sheng Xiao smiled and kept the cufflinks. Then he hugged Mama Sheng. Oh, it's so rare. Actually, Sheng Xiao was just apologizing in advance. It was because he would never give up on Xiao Qier. So he was apologizing. Sheng Xiao, who gave you this? I'll tell you next time. It's late now. I'll send you home to rest. It's okay. I drove here. Mama Sheng held Sheng Xiao. Go to sleep. I'm leaving. After a while, Mama Sheng left the villa. Sheng Xiao took his coat and went back to his house with Mu Qiqi. When he entered the house, he saw Mu Qiqi sitting on the sofa without saying a word. He frowned. But it only lasted for a second. Then he sat down beside Mu Qiqi and asked, Since it's so difficult, why don't you give up? Mu Qiqi raised her head and looked at Sheng Xiao in shock. What did you say? I thought you couldn't bear to hurt your grandfather? Mu Qiqi quickly put her arms around Sheng Xiao's neck and shook her head. I don't want to. I can do anything to atone for my sins. But I will never leave you. Sheng Xiao was satisfied. He hugged Mu Qiqi tightly. It's different today. Moreover, my mother intervened on purpose. It's normal for Grandpa Sheng to be angry. What about beautiful aunt? Little one, I can't tell you the answer now. Because I won't lie to you. You should have thought of these things before you got together with me. So, no matter how difficult it is, what's the use of being afraid? Solve it and overcome it. That's the end. Mu Qiqi thought about it. It seemed like that was the case. She felt a little relieved. Give me some time. I'm scared by Grandpa's reaction. But I will never give up on you. Even if Grandpa beats me to death. Silly thing, do you think I'll watch as others touch a single hair on your head? Having said that, Sheng Xiao carried Mu Qiqi to the bathroom. He wrung a hot towel and wiped her face. Do you know why my mother is so angry? What is it? Sheng Xiao handed the towel to Mu Qiqi. Then he took out a cufflink from his shirt pocket. Because of this. Just now, third aunt threw it into the fish tank at the Shen's house. I was anxious and reached out to catch it. Mu Qiqi took the cufflink from Sheng Xiao's hand. She was very emotional. I didn't expect you to treasure such a little thing so much. Chapter 221. Grandpa Shin sent Shin Ruoi to the hospital. She was grounded for a month after she returned home. Grandpa Shin was serious this time. He was not joking at all. It seemed that he was really angry. Since Suyun was taking care of Shin Ruoi, she was so angry when she saw her daughter like that. That old man is really inhumane. He is so cruel. Just wait and see. If Mu Chichi does something wrong, he will not treat her like this. She is easy to bully. Mom, I want to give up now. I don't have the face to see the Sheng family anymore. Shin Ruoi sat on the bed and said to Tsun Suyun weakly, "Daughter, don't you like Xing Xiao anymore?" Shin Ruoi could not help but tell Tsun Suyun everything that she had seen and heard in Huangyao. Tsun Suyun's eyes opened wide when she heard it. She could not believe it. "Did you see it with your own eyes?" Shin Ruoi nodded. "I was wrong about him. I thought he was a gentleman. I didn't expect that." Tsun Suyun was shocked for a while. Then she came back to her senses. "If what you said is true and Xing Xiao is so ridiculous, then it's better for you to see his true colors. Although wealth is important, my daughter's life is more important. If Xing Xiao is so ridiculous, then why is the Sheng family so proud? How dare he come to the Shin family and bully us? Mom, all right, let's not talk about it anymore. Let's ask your uncle to find you a more outstanding young man. Oh yes, what do you think about the young master of the Lin family?" Since Suyun noticed that there was no hope for the Sheng family, so she shifted her attention to Lin Muhan. The young master of the Lin family is much easier to deal with than Xing Xiao. Moreover, he is innocent. He will not fool around with women. If you like him, I can try to get in touch with him. Shin Ruoi just wanted to find a way to forget Xing Xiao now. And the best candidate was Lin Muhan. "Are you serious? My daughter has thought it through? That's great news." But she did not know that Xing Xiao was not someone she could hope for. Not even Lin Muhan. Xing Xiao managed to get rid of Shin Ruoi successfully. He used some extreme methods. Although he was a devil in front of Shin Ruoi, it was good that she was afraid of him. However, the old man insisted on giving Mu Chichi the young master of the Lin family. "We have to think of a way to make Mu Chichi lose her position in the Shin family." Shin Ruoi suddenly recalled the day when she visited Mu Chichi with Grandpa Shin after the Lin family's banquet. At that time, she suspected that Mu Chichi was not in the small villa and that Mu Chichi's aunt was covering for her. "Mother, we can't keep waiting for Mu Chichi to deal with us. We need to take the initiative. I suspect that Mu Chichi is hiding something from the Shin family. So you'd better find a way to verify it." "How?" "She's under the Sheng family's protection. You don't have to make it too complicated. You just have to go to the small villa and observe her aunt. You will definitely find something that can be used against her." As long as they could find out that Mu Chichi had lied to Grandpa Shin would be disappointed with Mu Chichi. By then they could seize the opportunity to drive Mu Chichi out of the Shin family. That would be a reasonable thing to do. "All right. Since you said so, I'll make the arrangements." Since Suyun listened to her daughter. "I hope that God will open his eyes and let me find something that can be used against that bitch." In the Shin family, Grandpa Shin was very sad because of Shin Ruoi. It was because he could not stand it when the younger generation and the older generation were together. He could not cross that barrier. An elder was an elder. What was the point of being together with the younger generation? Shin Ruoi had done such a silly thing. As her grandfather, it was embarrassing for him to say anything about it. It was embarrassing. So, Grandpa Shin was upset at home. He did not have a good meal for a few days. In the end, he had a high fever. He could not take it anymore and fell ill on the bed. When Mu Chichi heard about it, she went to visit Grandpa Shin after class. She saw Grandpa Shin acting like an old urchin. She took the bowl of porridge from Huangyu and fed it to Grandpa Shin. "Grandpa, why do you have to do this? How can I face the Sheng family in the future?" Grandpa Shin still could not accept it. He felt very upset. "Grandpa, your health is important. Dad has just recovered. Are you going to lie down again?" Mu Chichi persuaded him. Moreover, Sister Ruoi is also in the hospital. She is badly injured. She has been taught a lesson. "Chichi, I don't have any hope for Shin Ruoi anymore. I just hope that you won't disappoint me." "Grandpa, don't give me so much pressure. You know that I am even more disobedient than Sister Ruoi." Mu Chichi let Grandpa Shin sit up and eat the porridge obediently. "You're the best. We've tried to persuade him many times. But he just can't accept it. Second aunt, Grandpa will think it through sooner or later." After Grandpa Shin fell asleep, Mu Chichi planned to leave the Shin family. But she bumped into Tsun Suyun, who had just returned from the hospital. They did not look happy when they saw each other. It was as if they were enemies who killed each other's parents. Mu Chichi, don't be too proud. You will have this day too. Mu Chichi did not say anything. She left the Shen family directly. She knew that she would have this day. But it was not now. She just hoped that Grandpa Shen could be healthy. Then he would not refuse to eat because of her. Sin Suyun sneered when she saw Mu Chichi leaving. Now she had sent someone to monitor the little mansion. She was keeping a close eye on Su Zipei. She did not believe that she could not find out Mu Chichi's secret. To Mu Chichi, every time she returned to the Shen family and saw Grandpa Shen's sad face, it was a kind of torture for her. But she was not afraid of this torture. She was firm in her belief. Just like what Xiao Xiao said, no matter how many difficulties there were in front of her, even if she could not see the future, she would still persist. So, after she had such a mentality, she became more calm. But Shen Rui and her daughter had shifted their target to Lin Muan. This was also the first time Sin Suyun went to Grandpa Shen's room calmly and talked to him for a while. I know you don't want to see me. But I'll leave after saying a few words. Grandpa Shen was so angry that he turned his back to Sin Suyun. Chapter 222. It was certainly worth considering because the Sheng family would never tell anyone about it. How embarrassing would that be? But he felt that it would be unfair to the young master of the Lin family. But there was no better way now. It was better to let Shen Rui be with Lin Mu, and then to let her be with Sheng Xiao. I will think about it. You can leave now. That's more like it. Sin Suyun snorted. Grandpa Shen was still humane. He was not evil. However, Lin Mu, and had to be willing to be the one to plot against him. Since he met Lu Chanxian Lin Mu, and always wanted to flirt with her. He would argue with her when he was free. How could there be such a wonderful thing in the world? They exchanged phone numbers when they met last time. Lu Chanxian even said that she wanted to have a hand-to-hand fight in the martial arts club. How could she withstand his punches? But he did not expect that Lu Chanxian would send him a message in the middle of the night. She asked him to meet her in the martial arts club the next day. Lin Mu, and agreed almost immediately. The corners of his mouth curled up unconsciously. However, he did not know that Lu Chanxian was in a bad mood. She could have gone to the crew to waste her energy and time. But because of what he said, she did not have any more scenes. So Lin Mu, and had to take responsibility. Duan Xiao, and was going to be sentenced. The man whom she loved for so many years ended up like this. Although Lu Chanxian said that he deserved it, she was actually very sad. The next morning Lin Mu, and woke up early. He put on his sportswear and was about to go out. But Grandpa Lin stopped him. Go home early tonight. I want to have dinner with Grandpa Shen. Okay. Lin Mu, and guessed that Grandpa Shen must be talking about Mu Chichi. So he just laughed it off. But he did not expect that it was Shen Rui this time. When he arrived at the martial arts club, Lin Mu, and saw Lu Chanxian hitting the sandbag. He walked over and leaned against the sandbag. He saw Lu Chanxian sweating. I didn't know that you were quite strong. Go away. Lu Chanxian was venting her anger. Her tears and sweat were mixed together. Lin Mu, and felt the pressure on her. He quickly put on his boxing gloves. Do you believe it? You won't even be able to touch the corner of my clothes. Lu Chanxian was instantly pissed off. She pounced on Lin Mu, and rode on him, giving him a good beating. Lin Mu, and quickly fought back, and the two of them rolled on the ground a few times. Finally Lin Mu, and subdued Lu Chanxian. Are you grinding your claws? What a little chilly. Who asked you to cut off my path to stardom and make me suffer so much? Just for a supporting role? Is there a need for this? You know nothing. Lu Chanxian pushed Lin Mu, and away and stood up. She wiped her tears and sweat. I'm in a bad mood today. No, it doesn't matter today. As long as I'm in a bad mood in the future, you have to be my sparring partner. Give me a reason. Because you have a mouth that deserves a spanking. Mu Chichi was much gentler than she was. Or was it because she was hurt that she pretended to be like this? Alright, I can promise you that. However, you must also promise me that I will be your sparring partner for a day, and you must return me a day's worth of time. On that day, no matter what I ask you to do, you must not refuse. What about the conditions? However, Lu Chanxian did not refuse. It's a deal, scumbag. How am I a scumbag? Lin Mu, and was very curious. He stood up from the ground. Look at the stuff you've written. You've praised men to the heavens. Conceited, shameless, and reliable central air conditioner. I hate men like that the most. I definitely won't fall for it. After hearing Lu Chanxian's words, Lin Mu and laughed. He laughed very heartlessly. You didn't fall for it. If you didn't fall for it, why are you standing here now? That's because I asked you out. Then I will ask you out in the future. After Lin Mu and finished laughing, he patted the seat beside him and said to Lu Qianqian, "Come and sit down. Tell me why you are venting so crazily and why you treat the punching bag as your enemy for 10 lifetimes." Lu Qianqian calmed down and sat cross-legged. Then she said to Lin Muin, "That bastard has been sentenced today. Just because of this? Is it worth your punching the punching bag's chest?" Lu Qianqian did not say anything. She felt that it was very strange. There were some things that she could not say to Mu Qiqi. But in front of this disgusting man she could pour out her bitterness. "Let me tell you a rule. I will teach you how to distinguish between men. Those who look honest and honest are actually coquettish. But look at me and the crown prince. They look no different from playboys. But in fact they are the ones who are not interested in women. You?" Lu Qianqian looked at him from head to toe. "Your whole face says that I want to flirt with you. Do you think I am stupid?" Lin Mu, and burst out laughing. He pulled her up. "Come on. Let's move. Since I am your sparring partner today, you can use my body as you please." Lu Qianqian rolled her eyes. This man never forgot to flirt with girls. But before they knew it, they stayed in the martial arts club for the whole day. When they got home at night, Lin Mu and was smiling. When he saw old Shin, he remembered that he had a dinner appointment today. "I'm sorry, old Shin. I need to go up and change." "It's okay." Grandpa Shin waved his hand to show that he did not mind. He was here to persuade Lin Mu on. He wanted to see if he could help Lin Mu and Shin Ruoi get together. "Let's go, old Shin. Let's talk while we eat." After the dinner, Lin Mu and finally understood Grandpa Shin's intention. He also understood his grandpa's intention. Actually, his grandpa had talked to him before. He wanted to know if he liked Mu Qiqi. But it was obvious that Grandpa Shin was not satisfied with Mu Qiqi's birth. Speaking of Shin Ruoi, how perfect was she? She was well educated and knowledgeable. Moreover, she was born in a good family. So, the two old men seemed to have reached a tacit agreement. They did not even ask for Lin Mu An's opinion. But he was not angry. Anyway, Shin Ruoi did not like him either. But he did not expect that Shin Ruoi would change her mind all of a sudden. "Mu, and if you have time in the future, you should visit Miss Shin more often. I heard that she is hospitalized now. You should go and visit her when you are free." "Sure." Lin Mu and nodded and agreed. He could visit a patient. But it depended on whether he was sincere or not. Shin Ruoi was not a person to be trifled with. Chapter 223. After Grandpa Shin met Lin Mu in, he went back to the Shin family and told Sin Suyun a piece of good news. Sin Suyun knew that Lin Mu and promised to visit Shin Ruoi. So her attitude towards Grandpa Shin became better. "You finally behave like a grandfather. You don't have to run around for that bastard every day. Are you going to start again?" It was rare for Grandpa Shin to be happy. But Sin Suyun started to pressure him again. Wasn't she annoyed by her words? Sin Suyun knew that Grandpa Shin played a key role this time. So she kept quiet. But there would be a good show in a few days. Because she had been observing the small villa for a few days. But she did not see Mu Qiqi go back. Not even for a day. "I've been watching outside for so many days. I've seen all kinds of people. But I did not see Mu Qiqi entering or leaving the small villa. I have asked the people in the villa. There is only one door in the villa. The other doors are all locked. So, I am sure that the bastard has another place to stay." Shin Ruoi was deep in thought after she heard what her mother said. If she is not staying in the small villa, there is no need to hide it from Grandpa. Unless it is a secret. I think so too. But Mu Qiqi is under the protection of the Sheng family now. It will be difficult to follow her. "Mom, you don't have to do it yourself. Go to Xingting University and find a helper. You can ask Mu Qiqi's classmate to help you. Then it will not arouse suspicion." "That's a good idea. I'll get it done tomorrow. I'm getting more and more curious. What is the secret of this bastard? By the way, your eldest uncle is also in this hospital. I will bring you to see him when you are better." From the first day the mother and daughter entered the hospital, Xin Jianchuan already knew about it. The mother and daughter who bullied Mu Qiqi were like snakes. They were always scheming. Although he was not in the Shin family, he knew everything about the Shin family. Apart from what Grandpa Shin told him, he could also make his own judgment. So, Xin Jianchuan soon found out from the nurse what the mother and daughter said in the ward. After all, he was an old man in the hospital. It was not too difficult to ask the nurse for a favor. Through the nurse, Shin Jianchuan found out that the mother and daughter were investigating the matter of Mu Qiqi not staying in the small villa. As her father, he deduced that Mu Qiqi was already living with that brat. That was why no one could know about it. She was only 18 years old. Was she going to hand over her life to someone else? Even so, Shin Jianchuan still asked the nurse to contact Mu Qiqi and asked her to come to the hospital. Mu Qiqi did not know what Shin Jianchuan wanted to say, but she could feel that it must be very important. Tell me the truth, Qiqi. Are you living with Xing Xiao now? After listening to Shin Jianchuan's question, Mu Qiqi could not deny it. She could only nod in silence. We have been living together. Have you decided on him? Dad, we've already discussed this before, Mu Qiqi answered Shin Jianchuan firmly. Although Shin Jianchuan felt that it was a pity. He had not found a son-in-law for his daughter, but he still told Mu Qiqi about Sun Suyun and her daughter. Even if you don't stay in the small villa, you must go back every day. Even if you come out after that, you must not leave any gap for them to investigate you. Shin Rui and her daughter already know that you have not returned to the small villa for a few days. Now they are planning to bribe your classmates to find out where you are staying. Mu Qiqi felt sorry for Shin Jianchuan. Dad, I'm sorry. I know that my daughter has grown up. But I've told you before that I'm very capable. Even if I lie here and can't move, I can still protect you. Fortunately, they are in this hospital. What would you do if they were in another hospital to deal with you? The matter of Shin Rui liking Xiao Xiao has been exposed. Grandpa is very angry. He beat Shin Rui up and forbade her from leaving the Shin family. If Grandpa knows about it one day, Xiao Xiao and I don't know how sad he will be. Since you're so afraid, why are you still with Sheng Xiao? I can't live without him. Mu Qiqi's eyes were firm. Thank you, Dad. I'll handle this matter well. Handle what? They just want to stir up trouble in front of Grandpa Shin. You just have to play along with them. You can also dispel Grandpa Shin's worries. Shin Rui is so obsessed with Xing Xiao even though she has almost no chance to see him. So, do you think your grandfather will think that you're so close to Xing Xiao? He's just pretending to be ignorant. He's lying to himself before he sees the evidence. I understand. Xiaoqi, it's fine if you like him. It's not a heinous crime. Xing Xiao treats you very well. As a father, I have nothing to say. Your grandfather will accept you sooner or later. Only Shin Jianchuan understood her at this time. Mu Qiqi smiled. I was in a hurry when I left home. So I asked Xiao Xiao to send me here. Do you want to see him? He kidnapped my daughter. Do you think I'll accept him so easily? No way. Shin Jianchuan said. After I recover, I'll ask him to visit me properly. Okay. Mu Qiqi hugged Shin Jianchuan's arm and rubbed against it. She tried to feel her father's warmth and protection. But when she thought about it, she realized that Sun Suyun and her daughter had done too many things to her. She had no reason not to fight back. Just like what her father said, she would play along with them. She would make Grandpa Shin hate them completely. She might even chase them out of the Shin family. She did not want to do that. But someone forced her to do it. Mu Qiqi stayed with Shin Jianchuan for a little longer in the hospital. Then she went home with Xing Xiao. But on the way home, Mu Qiqi had told Xing Xiao about Shin Rui and her daughter. Xing Xiao entered the living room. He did not say a word. He just hugged Mu Qiqi quietly. Since we're playing, let's play it big. But I don't understand why they won't let me go. Shin Rui made a mistake and was punished by Grandpa Shin. But you're fine. So, of course they'll try their best to find fault with you. What's there to understand? At first I wanted to let them go. But they're too scheming. Since they want to investigate so much, I'll let them investigate to their heart's content. There's a path to heaven but they don't want to take it. There's no door to hell but they want to go. Chapter 224. Lin Mu, and was ordered to visit Shin Rui in the hospital. He behaved like a gentleman and gave her flowers. Sun Suyun could not stop smiling when she saw that. She immediately made room for them and found an excuse to leave the ward. Shin Rui was lying on the bed. She looked like a sleeping beauty. Although she did not have any special feelings for Lin Mu En, she still looked at him gently. Mu En, thank you for coming. Sister Rui, don't say that. I'm worried about your health. Lin Mu En addressed Shin Rui as his sister to draw a line between them. Although he had promised the elders that he would visit Shin Rui, it did not mean that he had to obey their arrangement. Shin Rui could feel that Lin Mu En was trying his best to draw a line between them. It was really strange. He had just said that Mu Qiqi and Lin Mu and were a good match for each other a few days ago. Now he was slapping her in the face. I'm fine. I'll be discharged from the hospital soon. That's good. I have something to do in the afternoon. I won't accompany you anymore. I hope that you'll be healthy the next time we meet. Lin Mu, and was a gentleman, but he was too polite. Since Suyun saw Lin Mu, and leaving her daughter's ward so quickly, she could not help but ask, what happened? Did you have a bad conversation? He was ordered to visit me. How could he be sincere? Shin Ruoi said embarrassedly. It's okay. Feelings can be cultivated slowly. Don't worry. Daughter, when you're discharged from the hospital, you should go out and have fun. Young people will fall in love very soon. Your grandfather has helped you a lot this time. He still has a conscience. What could Shin Ruoi do? She nodded her head. She would admit to everything. After Lin Mu and left the hospital, he went to the florist again and bought a bouquet of flowers. The florist saw Lin Mu and then smiled at him. Sir, are you going to see a patient again? Is it the same as the one just now? Give me a new bouquet of flowers. I want the most beautiful one. I want the freshest one. And I want the best packaging. Okay. Please wait a moment, sir. This is for your girlfriend, isn't it? You can tell from how much effort you put in. Lin Mu and smiled but didn't say anything. He quickly took the bouquet of carefully wrapped flowers from the hands of the flower shop attendant and went to the martial arts hall. Just like last time, Lu Chanshan had already arrived. When she saw him holding the flowers, she immediately blurted out, "Don't tell me it's for me? Have you received flowers before?" Lin Mu and asked Lu Chanshan as he took off his coat. Lu Chanshan was silent and did not answer. In other words, she did not receive it. Isn't that enough? I'll be merciful today and let you feel the envy of others. After Lin Mu and finished speaking, he went to the changing room. After changing, he came out of the changing room. What do you want to vent about today? I wonder what I'll do in the future. Lu Chanshan pouted. I used to be an obedient child, but I learned a lot of unconventional things from that scum, such as boxing, billiards, and those things in the club. But now, those things are meaningless to me. I'm not as smart as Chi-Chi. She's studying in Xingting University. She went there to learn how to cut up corpses. Lu Chanshan rolled her eyes at him. Anyway, I want to beat you up again today. Think carefully. Including today, you owe me for a total of 2 days. When the time comes, I'll make you pay me back. I'm afraid of you. Lu Chanshan was not afraid of his tricks. But when she saw the bouquet of flowers on the table, she was quite touched. It was like a child who had never been loved and suddenly had a candy stuffed in her mouth. That feeling was really different. You were wearing a suit and leather shoes just now. Where did you go? Shouldn't people of your profession stay at home and think about your plot? I went to visit the patient. A woman? Mu Chi-Chi's cousin. Lin Mu, and made a fake pose and waited for Lu Chanshan's fist. I seem to understand. Could it be that this bouquet of flowers is... You're thinking too much. It's just a bag of flowers sent to the hospital. It's economical and practical. I was in there for a total of 3 minutes, including the time I took to walk. Lin Mu and shrugged. I don't have a good impression of this woman. It's really rare. It's rare. Eat my punch. Lu Chanshan used all her skills to vent all the resentment in her heart. The two of them stayed like that for another day. Then the two of them lay on the ground, sweating profusely. Lin Mu and suddenly said to Lu Chanshan, "You're the only daughter in your family. The burden of the Lu family will be handed over to you sooner or later. In that case, why do you still have to think of a way out? That's the way you should take on. Wouldn't it be fine if you carry out the successor training? Things seem to be that simple." Lu Chanshan nodded. Thank you for the flowers. After saying that, she got up and took the bouquet of flowers away. In order to feel the envious gazes of others, she deliberately walked home. Sure enough, the number of heads turned along the way was astonishing, especially from the girls. They were filled with endless envy. At that moment, Lin Mu and got up from the ground and sent a message to Lu Chanshan. Tomorrow, it's your turn to accompany me. Be careful. I'm a person who can ask for anything. Lu Chanshan put away her phone and finally smiled. On the other hand, Mu Chi-Chi knew that Sun Suyun and her daughter were investigating her. So, she deliberately left the school and went back to her and Xing Zhao's new home. She purposely let the mother and daughter know that she had another place to stay. The students who followed Mu Chi-Chi could not enter the villa. So, she did not know that Xing Zhao was also in the villa. In order to give Sun Suyun more material to complain to Grandpa Shin, Mu Chi-Chi would prepare more scenes for others to see. Then when Sin Suyun came with Grandpa Shin, the scene would be interesting. Sure enough, when Sin Suyun knew where Muchichi's new home was, she was very excited. But they could not act rashly. Because Muchichi might have a new home, but it did not mean that she had any secrets. They must find out more about her so that Grandpa Shin would be disappointed or even hate Muchichi. She did not know that Shin Jianchuan already knew about her and Shin Ruoi's scheme. It seems that things are starting to turn for the better. God is helping us. You can be discharged from the hospital in 1 day. Then you should hurry and ask the young master of the Lin family out for a date. Mom, I know what to do. Don't worry about it. Chapter 225. Shin Ruoi knew that Lin Mu and had great potential. But Lin Mu and was not as obedient as he seemed to be. I'll buy some delicious pastries and visit the Lin family tomorrow. I'm relieved that you're enlightened. Sin Suyun was relieved. Shin Ruoi was not enlightened. She just thought of Xing Zhao's hobby of teasing girls. It was so creepy. Moreover, she had embarrassed herself in the Sheng family. Now she just wanted to erase this devil from her mind as soon as possible. So, the next morning Shin Ruoi went to visit the Lin family after she bought some pastries. But Lin Mu and was in his office. He asked Lu Qianqian to come with him. Imitate my signature. There are 2,000 books that need my signature. Lu Qianqian crossed her arms and shook her head. Why would the readers want to buy your books? Why do you have to fake this? I need them tonight. I won't be able to sign all 2,000 books even if I break my arm. That's easy. Can't you just sign it? It's better to sign for someone else if you're not sincere. Lin Mu and looked at her and shook his head. Then go and take off your clothes. Hey, pervert. Take off your coat and help me take care of the flowers. You don't want to get wet, do you? Lin Mu and turned around and looked at Lu Qianqian. There was an evil smile in his eyes. Or do you want to get wet? Lu Qianqian rolled her eyes at him. Let me tell you. I don't have any feelings for men now. I won't be interested even if you stand in front of me naked. You sound like you should be saying that to men. I don't know how to take care of flowers. I deserve it if you kill them. Lin Mu and smiled and let her be. He focused on sitting in front of the mountain of books, obediently in front of him. He only wrote the word, and in each book. It saved him a lot of trouble. Then he would ask his assistant to prepare 2,000 gifts as a gift to apologize. Looking at Lu Qianqian, she was like a rich young lady when she was quiet. But when she opened her mouth, she was like a firecracker. Lin Mu and was immersed in his signature again. But he received a call from Shin Ruoi soon. And I bought some pastries for you, but I don't know where you are right now. Will I disturb you? Lin Mu and was stunned. Could it be that he didn't make his attitude clear when he went to the hospital? I'm sorry, Sister Ruoi. I have an appointment today. I'll definitely visit you another day to apologize. Lin Mu and always kept a good distance from women he didn't like. He would never give them any chances or misunderstandings. Dating wasn't about making do, it was about liking each other, wasn't it? All right then. After Shin Ruoi hung up the phone, Lin Mu and fell into deep thoughts. Shin Ruoi clearly wanted to matchmake him with Muchichi. Why was she so nice to him now? This was not a good sign. Lu Qianqian saw that he was in a daze after answering the phone. She sneered. Since you have an appointment, go? Do you really want me to go? What does it have to do with me? Lu Qianqian continued to bury her head and focus on the plants on the ground. This little pepper was really irritating. It seemed that he had to think of a way to avoid this rotten peach blossom. Shin Ruoi did not know that she did not have a good ending with Xing Xiao. Now that she was in the Lin family, Lin Mu and still despised her. Of course, before he could avoid this rotten peach blossom, he had to know why Shin Ruoi suddenly went to the hospital and changed her attitude towards him. Perhaps Muchichi could answer his question. But according to Muchichi's character, she would not gossip about others. So, he could only call the crown prince and ask him about it. He promised Lu Qianqian that he would meet Xing Xiao, and Xing Xiao owed him a favor. It was not too much to ask the crown prince to return the favor, right? So Lin Mu and picked up the phone in front of Lu Qianqian. He dialed Xing Xiao's number. Crown Prince, I need a minute. I want to ask you something. Say it. Xing Xiao raised his eyebrows and put down the contract in his hand. Based on your relationship with Muchichi, you must know why Shin Ruoi is hospitalized, right? Grandpa Shin beat her up. What? Because she sneaked into my office and was caught by my mother? I understand now. Lin Mu and understood immediately. Xing Zhao's intention was clear enough. Shen Rui failed to fall in love with him and Grandpa Shen found out about it. So she was beaten up. It was the same case of a niece falling in love with an uncle. Mu Qiqi's ending was too different. If that's the case, it'll be easy. Thank you, Crown Prince. Lu Qianqian was curious when she heard the two men talking about Shen Rui. Is Shen Rui related to the Crown Prince? Don't worry. The Crown Prince loves your Xiao Qiqi very much. I'm the one who is in trouble now. But I've thought of a way to avoid it. Since she had made a fool of herself in the Sheng family, she still dared to come to him shamelessly? Could it be that he really looked like a spare tire? It had better be so. What will you do if the Crown Prince has another woman outside? I'll let Qiqi leave him. Lu Qianqian answered Lin Mu, and firmly. You're such a playboy. You won't understand how pitiful and scary a person can be when they are in love. The Crown Prince is Qiqi's first love. She sounded as if Mu Qiqi was not Xing Zhao's first love. It was just that no one knew about it. You go and tell the Crown Prince, and you, since you're related to Shen Rui, don't come to me. I hate men like you the most. But Lin Mu laughed when he heard what Lu Qianqian said. So, do you think that you're a woman who will have a relationship with me? Yes, we're enemies. Are you satisfied with this answer? This man, 2 out of every 3 sentences he said were meant to seduce women, Lin Mu, and did not continue to quarrel with Lu Qianqian. He was thinking about how he should tell his grandpa about it in an interesting way when he returned home. Lu Qianqian stayed in Lin Mu and studio until the afternoon. Then she thought that she should go and have a meal with Mu Qiqi. Because she was interested in Shen Rui. Mu Qiqi rushed to meet Lu Qianqian after class. Of course, she knew that someone was watching her closely. Qiqi, I was in Lin Mu and studio today. I heard Lin Mu calling the Crown Prince to ask about Shen Rui. What's the relationship between the Crown Prince and Shen Rui? Mu Qiqi smiled. She did not answer her question. Instead, she asked, since when are you so close to Lin Mu? I'm worried about you. Don't worry. I'll tell you slowly. Mu Qiqi said as she poured a cup of fruit tea for Lu Qianqian. At the same time, Lin Mu had entered the house. He saw his grandpa and walked to him. Grandpa, Miss Shen came to look for you today, but you weren't here. Chapter 226. Grandpa Lin glanced at him and nodded his head. Go ahead. Lin Mu walked to Grandpa Lin and sat down on the sofa. His expression was complicated. Of course, it was all an act. I heard that Miss Shen is hospitalized because of a man. But the man's family does not want her. So, Grandpa, think about it. Old Shen wanted me to get to know Miss Qiqi more during your birthday banquet. But a few days later, she became Miss Rui. Don't you think it's strange? I don't want to affect the friendship between you and old Master Shen, but there are some things that I have to say to him. Grandpa Lin thought for a while and did not refute his grandson. It was because Lin Mu had always been considerate. Moreover, he had never disobeyed him on such matters. No matter which lady he met, they would always praise him. So, since Lin Mu felt embarrassed, he had to investigate Shen Rui's case carefully. Is this news reliable? Yes, Grandpa. You know that I won't tell you if it's not because I can't live with it. Don't say any more. Although I'm good friends with old Shen, you're the pride of the Lin family. How can you be someone's backup? Don't bother about the Shen family. You don't have to see Miss Shen if you don't want to. Thank you, Grandpa. Lin Mu said it in a subtle way. But Grandpa Lin managed to get the point. It seemed that he did not waste his years in the government. Although he was not as good as the Crown Prince, he did not need to be a backup. What was Shen Rui thinking about all day? Mu Qiqi told Lu Qianqian about what happened in the Shen family while they were talking. Qianqian was speechless when she heard about Sun Suyun and her daughter. In other words, Shen Rui was scared off by the Crown Prince. Now she thinks of Lin Mu again. Is that what you mean? Judging from the current situation, it seems so. No wonder Lin Mu wants to ask the Crown Prince about this. Perhaps he wants to find a way to get rid of this vase. Lu Qianqian sighed. TSK. She must be worried about getting married. Now she can find herself a backup. Lin Mu must be very angry. Well, I don't know. How interesting. Lu Qianqian was actually unaware that so much had happened to Mu Qiqi while she was grieving. That mother and daughter are still looking for a chance to expose you and cause trouble? Yes. I can only say that they've eaten a bear's heart and leopard's gall. They're courageous. I really want to know how Lin Mu got rid of this big vase. So, Mu Chichi and the others already knew what was going on. Only Tsun Suyun and her daughter were still daydreaming. You're so close to Lin Muhan. Why don't you just ask him? Go to hell. You're making fun of me. Lu Qianqian pushed Mu Chichi. After that, Mu Chichi returned to the villa. The classmate who followed her was really energetic. She and Qianqian had been sitting in the cafe for so long, but she could still hold on. After she entered the villa, the classmate secretly asked the security guard at the entrance which building Mu Chichi was staying in and what the house number was. However, he did not tell her. So, she secretly gave him some cash. Then she got the answer. That girl has moved into our villa for some time. She is living with a man. But I don't know who they are. Every day they go home one after another. If you want to know who her man is, you can come here another day. As for the rest, I can't tell you the house number. It's enough. That's enough. The security guard was satisfied. Because she had gotten what Tsun Suyun and her daughter wanted. Mu Chichi is really living with a man. Tsun Suyun was very excited. It's a pity that we don't know who the man is. Mom, Mu Chichi is not on guard now. It's just a matter of time before they find out. Don't be anxious. Shin Rui reminded her. Let's bear with it for a while. By the way, how did it go when you went to meet young Master Lin today? He's not at home. Shin Rui answered casually while removing her makeup. Don't you know how to look for him when he's not at home? I'll go tomorrow, said Shin Rui. Tsun Suyun was satisfied when she heard what Shin Rui said. That's more like it. It was getting colder at night. Mu Chichi was still walking around the house barefooted. Sheng Xiao carried her on his shoulder and walked to the bedroom when he saw her. Xiao Xiao, are you purposely walking barefooted to make me feel bad? Does your butt not hurt anymore? Sheng Xiao placed her on the edge of the bed. Then he squatted in front of her and put on the soft slippers for her. Mu Chichi quickly covered her but when he mentioned her butt. Don't spank my butt all the time. I'm an adult now. No matter how old you are, you're still a little thing in my eyes. Moreover, I've been treating you like a father and a brother ever since you started sticking to me. Why are you arguing that you're an adult now? If I want to punish you, I'll have to spank you. I'll remember to wear shoes next time. Can you let me go, Crown Prince? You've gotten what you want. Xing Xiao pinched her nose. Then he stood up and left the bedroom. But Mu Chichi seized the opportunity and threw herself on his back. Since Suyun and her daughter already know that I'm living with a man here, they'll definitely try their best to confirm the man's identity. Why don't I show my face to them? Xing Xiao teased Mu Chichi on purpose. I'll let them know that I don't want their daughter. I want you, my little thing. Wait a little longer, Xing Xiao smiled. In fact, he knew very well that the little one did not want to expose their relationship just yet. She always wanted to grow up quickly and become more and more outstanding. That way there would be less gossip about her and it would be better for him. Anyway, my birth is already a topic that people always laugh about. I don't care about my reputation. But I care about you. I don't know what I should do to stop people from talking about me. Xing Xiao did not say anything. He carried Mu Chichi to the study. Then he let her hang on his back like a koala. Do you love me that much? After a while, Xing Xiao lowered his head and asked the person in his arms. Mu Chichi was half awake. But she still answered him, I love you. I love you very much. Xing Xiao did not say anything. He just hugged his little one tightly in his arms. Would the love of an 18-year-old make people feel that it was light and weightless? But Xing Xiao believed in Mu Chichi. The love of an 18-year-old was pure, clean and wholehearted. Chapter 227. These days Shin Rui went to see Lin Mu, and for a few times. But Lin Mu, and rejected her every time. Shin Rui vaguely felt that something was wrong. Lin Mu, and had been perfunctory the last few times. But recently Lin Mu, and was too lazy to be perfunctory. Sometimes he did not even answer her calls or reply her texts. No matter how despicable Shin Rui was, she should know what he meant. But the Lin family and the Shin family had been friends for many years. Moreover, it was the two elders who had helped them. Even if Lin Mu and was dissatisfied with her, he would not pretend that she was pestering him. He was bullying her. Shin Rui was not convinced. So she sent someone to follow Lin Mu, and for a few days. She found out that he was very close to a woman recently. She was Mu Chichi's good friend, the young lady of the Lu family, Lu Qianqian. Shin Rui did not think much. She went straight to Grandpa Shin. Grandpa, you seem to support me to be with the young master of the Lin family. But you don't want to help me, do you? Shinrui, how can you talk to your elders like this? Huang Yu immediately asked Shinrui, what happened to your well-mannered demeanor? Second aunt, you don't know this. Grandpa supports me to be with the young master of the Lin family. But he has been ignoring me these days. Do you know who he is with? He is with Mu Chichi's good friend. The one who had a miscarriage when she was 18. Grandpa Shin frowned when he heard that. You feel uncomfortable too, don't you? I think so too. I am the young lady of the Shin family. How can I lose to a second-hand woman? Moreover, Lu Qianqian is Mu Chichi's good friend. Can I understand that Mu Chichi asked her friend to seduce Lin Muan? Father, Mu Chichi is not that kind of person. Huang Yu immediately spoke for Mu Chichi. Huang Yu, call Mu Chichi and ask her to come here. Grandpa Shin did not make a decision. Because he did not know about it, he would not take sides. When Mu Chichi received the call, she felt that she was in trouble. So she rushed back to the Shin family immediately. Once they entered the house, all the elders were gathered in the living room. Sin Suyun and her daughter were crying and standing at the side while Huang Yu looked furious. Mu Chichi, do you think our Ruoi is not miserable enough? Do you want to add insult to injury? Before Grandpa Shen could say anything, Sin Suyun had already accused Mu Chichi. Of course Mu Chichi was already used to it. Is it my fault if anything goes wrong in your family? Mu Chichi asked in return. Mu Chichi, just tell me. Do you know the relationship between Lin Mu En and Lu Qianqian? What's their relationship? Mu Chichi asked in return. After all, Lu Qianqian and Lin Mu En did not do those dirty things that they imagined. Then do you know that Grandpa wants me and Lin Mu En together? When did Grandpa tell me? Mu Chichi asked. Look at you. You are pretending to be innocent and you don't know anything. You and Lu Qianqian are good friends. Do you dare to say that you don't know that she and Lin Mu En are together? Grandpa Lin Mu En has been pretending to be busy these few days. He ignored me. But he is getting along well with Lu Qianqian. How can I not suspect Mu Chichi? Are you kidding me? Lin Mu En is getting along well with Lu Qianqian. Why are you looking for me? Mu Chichi was angry. She raised her voice. Yes, Lu Qianqian is my good friend. But why are you so sure that I know about it? Grandpa, you never told me that you want Shinrui and Lin Mu En to be together. Didn't you? Grandpa Shin nodded. He did not tell Mu Chichi about it. But he was not feeling well at the moment. He could not say a word. So no one noticed it. Fine. Even if you don't know anything, you should understand my plan now, right? As a member of the Shin family, shouldn't you do something for the Shin family and let your good friend know her place? Don't disturb other people's happy occasion. First of all, I don't think that you are doing something for the Shin family. You are the one who shamelessly went to someone else's office and embarrassed yourself. Why should everyone help you? Why should others help you to live a happy life? Moreover, Qianqian is the young lady of the Lu family. Her family background is not worse than yours. But she is shameless. She had an abortion when she was 18. What about you? You went to someone else's office and got caught red-handed. How good can you be? Grandpa Shin was angry when he heard them quarreling. Shut up, both of you. How can you two sisters quarrel like this? Grandpa, I don't know what this has to do with me. Why did you call me here in the middle of the night? You should find the reason why my sister is not favored by others. You should not ask me. The Lin family is not stupid. Can't they tell the good from the bad? It is obvious that you are trying to drive a wedge between us. Perhaps you have even told the Lin family about what happened to me in the Xing family. It seems that Sister Ruoi is determined to put the blame on me, isn't it? Mu Chichi did not argue with Shin Ruoi when she saw how persistent Shin Ruoi was. Anyway, no matter how she explained, the mother and daughter were right. How dare you say that it has nothing to do with you? Fine. I admit it. I am the one who did it. I asked Lin Mu En to ignore you. I also asked my good sister to provoke Lin Mu En. So you have no chance at all. Are you satisfied with this? Grandpa, she admitted it. Shin Rui pointed at Mu Chichi and shouted at Grandpa Shin. Grandpa, yes, I admit it. Not only this time. If there is such a thing in the future, I will interfere. I will tell everyone that the Xing family doesn't want you. Don't you dare. Sin Suyun threatened Mu Chichi loudly. A bastard is a bastard, slap. No one expected that Mu Chichi would hit Sin Suyun. If you dare to call me a bastard again, I will let the whole Jianchuan know about your daughter's scandal. Do you believe me? Mu Chichi, how dare you hit me? If you and your daughter bully me like this again, I will still hit you, Mu Chichi said fiercely. Isn't it just bullying my father who is lying on the sickbed? Isn't it just bullying me because I didn't grow up in the Shin family? Let me tell you, I Muchichi will not tolerate you today. I won't tolerate you in the future. Sin Suyun was furious. She wanted to slap Muchichi. But Shin Lin grabbed her wrist. Third aunt, you can't hit Chichi. Grandpa, I know that you want to be fair. Because you are not only my grandpa but also the head of the Shin family. But I have told you before that I will not mistreat myself for the sake of this family. Because to me, I only cherish those who care about me. You're tuning in to the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.